Giovanni Soto homers, Alfonso Soriano homers, Randy Wells and Sean Marshall combined to shut out St. Louis. Yesterday, more power from the Cubs. Again in the first inning, Tyler Colvin homers. Later on, they would add another one. Starlin Castro with a home run. Carlos Marmol comes on and retires. Matt Holliday on a soft liner to end the game as the Cubs hang on and win by a score of 6-5. If you're a Cubs fan, let me rephrase that. If you're an optimistic Cubs fan, you're still thinking the dream is possible. They're 9 back of the Cardinals. If they can sweep tonight, they'll gain another game. They got 9 more left with the Cardinals later on this season. Hi, everybody. Dan Schulman, Oral Hershiser, Bobby Valentine with you here in Chicago. John Miller being honored in Cooperstown today, and Hall of Famer Joe Morgan is there as well. If you're the Cardinals, you're looking to salvage something out of the series, you want one of your best on the mound, and they've got it tonight in Chris Carpenter.
Yeah, one of the best starting staffs around. A trio of great, but the ace on top, the 35-year-old veteran, Cy Young Award winner, 2-time comeback player of the year. Goes through some bumps in the road in the last few starts, but has gotten back on track since making the All-Star team. At the All-Star break, didn't have to throw, found his release point and his side works, is not overstriding anymore, is on top of his fastball, making it sink and hitting his target again. 2-0 in his last 2 starts. The Phillies and Dodgers saw him for 8 innings each, only 1 run in each game, so he's on track. He needs to get these Cardinals back on track.
He will face a hot-hitting team, as we mentioned. The Cubs are really coming on right now, and some of the veteran guys are doing their job, but Bobby, it's really the 2 rookies at the top of the order who have really given them the spark.
Oh, exactly, Dan. We have Tyler Colvin playing right field, leading all National League rookies in home runs with 15. We have Starlin Castro at shortstop, who's only 20 years old, yet he's second to Buster Posey in batting average with a 308 average here in the National League. These are 2 guys that Lou Piniella, even though he said he's going to retire, who has no quit in him, says are going to get him back in this pennant hunt and have a pennant race here in Chicago before it's all over.
About a week ago, where Lou Piniella moved Colvin and Castro to the top of the order. Since then, the Cubs have averaged more than 7 runs per game. Should it be a fun one tonight? We mentioned Chris Carpenter for the Cardinals, a great competitor in Ryan Dempster for the Cubs as he looks for win number 9. One of the great rivalries in baseball continues tonight. Albert Pujols hit a couple of home runs off Ryan Dempster in a game here at the end of May. He'll take his hacks at the right-hander again at Wrigley tonight.
By Taco Bell, think outside the bun. And in part by the powerfully simple Pen camera. And Budweiser, with full flavor and a crisp, clean finish, it's what we do.
Welcome back to Wrigley Field. What a night. Not a cloud in the sky this evening right now. It was 100 degrees here on Friday. It's down to the 70s right now. The storms blew through. The humidity is gone. It's absolutely gorgeous as the Cubs and Cardinals wrap up this series tonight here on Sunday Night Baseball. You can watch this game and over 800 other live games on your mobile phone with ESPN Mobile TV. Text TV to 4ESPN. That's TV to 43776. The Cubs in their home whites take the field tonight here at Wrigley. We'll have some shadows in play for the first couple of innings until we lose the remaining sunlight. Tony La Russa's St. Louis Cardinals are in a battle for top spot in the National League Central. Cincinnati lost today, so the Cardinals and Reds are in a dead heat atop the National League Central right now. Let's check out the starting lineup for the Cardinals, presented by Taco Bell. St. Louis has a team middle of the pack of the National League in a run scored. Leading off at third base, Felipe Lopez. Ryan Ludwig just off the DL, batting second and playing right. The incomparable Albert Pujols at first base batting third. A very hot hitter in Matt Holliday is in left field batting fourth. A very hot rookie, John Jay, in center field batting fifth. Skip Schumacher, the second baseman, will bat sixth. All-star Yadier Molina will catch at about seventh. The pitcher again in the eighth spot, as he often is, for Tony La Russa. Chris Carpenter, the pitcher tonight, in batting ninth, the shortstop, Brendan Ryan. Bobby, it's a compliment to Albert Pujols that you can be hitting 300 with almost 70 RBIs right now, but by his standards, he's kind of having a bit of a rough time right now.
And talking to Jose Oquendo before the game, third base coach for the Cardinals, he says Albert hasn't been Albert all year long. He's still searching. He took his batting practice with the team and then took extra batting practice with Jose in the tunnel. He's searching, and when he finds it, he'll feel it, and it might spell trouble and good trouble for the rest of the National League. Good times for the Cardinals.
Well, good times for Albert Pujols. Or the last time he faced Ryan Dempster, hit a couple of home runs off him, but Dempster is one of the quality starting pitchers in the National League.
He is a workhorse. He throws the second most pitches per start in the National League. He's up around 109 pitches and pretty efficient with those. A strikeout pitcher that allows him not to go deep in the game because of the pitch count. But Ryan Dempster has had some tough luck against the Cardinals. The Cubs have not scored any runs for him in the last 3 times he's pitched against them.
A packed house as always here at Wrigley Field. The Cardinals have lost 3 in a row after they had a big winning streak. The Cubs were playing poorly, but now they've won the first 2 of this series. And we are underway with a fastball in there for a called strike to Cardinal third baseman Felipe Lopez. A switch hitter batting from the left side, hitting .269 on the season. David Freese is on the DL, so Lopez, who can play all over the infield, playing at third base tonight. Brendan Ryan is the shortstop. Skip Schumacher at second. Sometimes a bit of a revolving door through those 3 spots for Tony La Russa for a variety of reasons, as Dempster jumps out in front 1-2. Probably the hardest manager in a Major League Baseball to predict his lineup going into the game. Some guys you kind of know how they're going to put him there, but with Tony La Russa, will the pitcher bat 8th or 9th? Who will be at second, third, and short? Guys like Ludwig and Holliday, will they be ahead of Pujols, behind Pujols? You never know what you're going to get.
And he's been hard-pressed for a lineup this year because his middle of the infield hasn't hit at all. And Freese not only hurting his ankle, but then dropping a weight on his foot.
Yeah. And out even longer because of that. A nice play by Derek Lee, and Lopez is retired. A look at the Cub defense right now. One of the weaker defensive groups in the National League. They've committed 76 errors on the season. Left to right in the outfield, Alfonso Soriano, Marlon Byrd, the All-Star, and Tyler Colvin, the rookie, in right. Left side of the infield, Aramis Ramirez and 20-year-old Starlin Castro, an exciting young talent. Right side of the infield, Ryan Terrio and Derek Lee, Giovanni Soto behind the plate. Here's Ryan Ludwig now, the right fielder, a guy the Cardinals just got back yesterday. Would have been on the DL with a calf injury. It had missed almost a month. An all-star 2 years ago, and another potent bat to insert into that Cardinal lineup. Went 1 for 3, drew a walk, scored a couple of runs yesterday in the Cardinal loss.
He's still trying to get his timing back. He only had 9 at-bats down in Memphis on rehab. getting a good look in this 2-hole. A lot of managers talk about that's a place where you can get guys started right before the bulk of the order comes up. And those hitters counts, you're guaranteed to get a little bit more of the fat of the plate from the pitcher.
And there were days earlier this season when Matt Holliday was struggling. Tony La Russa put him in the 2 spot. He got hot, and then he moved him back down to cleanup. And he has stayed hot. Just missed, says Bob Davidson, the home plate umpire.
Little up, little out. K-Zone has got it right. And so does Bob Davidson.
Chopper over Dempster. Tough play, no play. Be an infield hit for Ludwig.
One of the harder plays for a pitcher because your instinct is to stay still and jump, but what you really need to do is almost back up. It's hit long, and he tries to, but he just goes with the short-stoppy steps. If you try to go away from and run away from a ball going towards it and down a hill, boy, it's really hard. A good try up the middle, but it's do or die.
It's do or die, and there's a lot of debris on the backside of that mound with the rosin and the cleat cleaner, and I think Ryan was cognizant of that. When he jumped, it was very ginger coming down his landing.
Now he's got to forget about it and set his sights on Albert Pujols. Albert hit a couple of home runs off Dempster, as we mentioned, back on the 30th of May. On the season, Pujols is hitting .301, tied for 5th in the National League in home runs with 22. 3rd in the league in RBIs with 69, but since the All-Star break, by his standards, quiet, and does not have a hit yet in this series. He is 0 for 6 with a couple of walks.
You see, Dan, there, he has his front foot just slightly open because he hasn't been handling that inside pitch lately, and I'm sure that's what he and Jose were working on before the game, just trying to clear that hip a little more so, as Albert says, he can get his hands to work. But when his body is proper and efficient, then his hands are working. Here comes the inside pitch.
Fastball inside of the belt, 2-1.
One of the great things about Albert throughout his career is when he gets that inside fastball, even when it's been off the plate, he's quick enough to hit it and quick enough and mechanically sound enough to keep it fair. And so people want to pitch him there, but the great thing about Albert Pujols that he can hit for power and average is that his out pitch is still something that he can handle.
Runner at first, 1 out. 2-1. Breaking ball in the dirt, ball 3.
He's really holding himself to a very high standard to change his stance, believe it or not, to open up like that just because, well, I'm only hitting .300.
As we talk about so often, Laurel, it's about the feel. And he just doesn't have the right feel. The numbers are coming. Everything looks good, but he doesn't feel good. Searching.
Ludwig draws a throw. And the Cardinals, even with, and a lot of teams have had this, but even with some of their players underperforming at times, they've had their fair share of injuries. 2 of their starting pitchers have been on the DL a long time. They're still in the hunt. They're still tied for the lead in the National League Central. Seems like they're always up there year after year. There's ball 4 inside the Pujols. So first and second with 1 out. And let's go back to what Bobby was talking about a short while ago. This is before the game. Albert Pujols taking BP. And you can see a little frustration on his face. Things are just not coming together like he's used to. So there's the extra BP going out with Jose Oquendo.
Exactly. Searching. Maybe I left it here last time I was in town. I'll go find it.
Well, it's almost as if you're the next team on the Cardinals schedule. You're worried. You're saying, uh-oh.
When's it going to happen?
That's right. Jose Oquendo, the longtime third base coach. Here's Matt Holliday, and he takes just low ball 1. A double clutch from Giovanni Soto, the catcher. Expected to hear a strike call, didn't get it. And as Pujols is struggling, Holliday is on a tear, on a 10-game hitting streak right now. He's got 18 homers. He's got 25 doubles. Deep in the hole, Castro, short hop for the out at second, and then a wild throw. Does not end up doing any damage. It'll be runners on the corners with 2 down after the fielder's choice.
Ill-advised throw there. Castro's in left field. He makes a great play to get the forced out at second. What we have to be doing is looking to see if, in fact, Ludwig is taking a turn around third. Here's Castro. He has 2 feet in the outfield grass, plants his right foot, makes a great throw, 1-hop pickup at second. But now you look to third base to see if, in fact, Ludwig's taking too big of a turn and try to pick him because there's no chance at first. Luckily, no runs on the board.
In the old days, there would be. You didn't have the fences in front of the dugouts like everybody has now. That would have been a run. Good range by Castro.
Good pick by Terrio at second, just ill-advised throw.
Now John Jay with the runners at first and third, 2 down. And the rookie center fielder has been a real find for the Cardinals in recent weeks. He is hitting .386 in limited at-bats with power. Colby Rasmus has a bit of a hamstring problem, and he's been struggling, so Jay is getting more playing time. There goes Holiday towards second. They got him caught now. Ludwig inching down the line. Here he comes. The throw to the plate, and they got him.
What a fabulous play by Castro.
2 good plays in the inning by the young shortstop, Starlin Castro. The Cubs with some good defense on the infield, and the Cardinals don't score. Leave a man on. Lou Piniella announcing earlier this week he's going to retire as manager at the end of the season. One of the winningest managers in the top 20 in wins in Major League history. Let's check out Lou's starting lineup presented by Taco Bell, a lineup that's really been hitting the ball lately. Nobody more so than rookie outfielder Tyler Colvin, with the possible exception of his fellow rookie, shortstop Starlin Castro, who's got 5 hits already in this series. Derek Lee. Not a great season, but his bat has started to come to life. Aramis Ramirez has been on a tear as well. All-star Marlon Byrd is in center field batting 5th. Alfonso Soriano in left field hitting 6th. Giovanni Soto is heating up. The catcher is batting 7th. Ryan Terrio, the second baseman, batting 8th, and batting 9th, the starting pitcher tonight, Ryan Dempster. It will not be easy for the Cubs, though, tonight, Oral, because 35-year-old Chris Carpenter, I guess the co-ace of the St. Louis staff, along with Adam Wainwright, maybe the best 1-2 combo in baseball.
Yeah, they're fantastic. And Chris Carpenter is back on the bump, back on a roll now. His sinking fastball is outstanding. He was overstriding a little bit a few starts ago, but now that stride's a little shorter, the arm angle's better and crisper movement and location. Last 2 starts did very, very well.
Got to clean off the bases after half an inning. A lot of action out there in the top of the first.
Actually, I think it was a little damp and slippery, so they tried to dry these bases off. They're doing third base now also, so there's no injury as we play this game.
So while we wait for Tyler Colvin to come up, the rookie outfielder has had one heck of a series. In his first at-bat, in each of the last 2 games, he's gone deep. This is off Jeff Suppan on Friday afternoon, leading off at the bottom of the first. And then he did the very same thing again yesterday off Blake Hawksworth. 15 home runs for Colvin in 216 at bats, and he has certainly put himself into the Rookie of the Year conversation in the National League. We had a chance to visit with him in the Cubs clubhouse before the game, and he has never been a leadoff hitter before until now. And Bobby, you don't think he's going to be a leadoff hitter for long?
Well, he said once at Clemson he did, and lately he's been getting deeper counts. But I told him, leadoff hitter is just a hitter, and you don't have to put any kind of added pressure on yourself thinking you have to be this little guy who can steal bases or take a million pitches. What you need to do is to give your team good at-bats, see the ball, hit the ball, and that's what he's doing now. I think he has a chance to be a third-place hitter in the major leagues before it's all over.
And there's Starlin Castro, who could eventually develop into a leadoff hitter, but Lou Piniella feels that he's got room to grow and get stronger, and that his power could come. Hit sharply into center field, a base hit for the red-hot Colvin.
Well, here he was. He wasn't thinking about taking a lot of pitches. He was thinking about having a good at-bat, and he takes a couple pitches and then gets one on the outside corner in the K-zone and has a perfect swing. He has perfect balance, hands over the ball, line drive up the middle. Let's play baseball. Don't be surprised if Luke does something in the lines of a hit and run or a button run, because he knows the wind is blowing in slightly today. He's not going to rely on that home run ball.
First time in a number of days that the wind has been blowing in here at Wrigley. A cooler night, a better night for the pitchers. Here's Starlin Castro hitting a .308. The combo of Colvin and Castro hitting almost 400 over the last week since they have been moved up to the top two spots in the lineup. And when Castro was called up to the big leagues earlier this year, he became the shortstop. Ryan Terrio, the shortstop, went to second. Mike Fontenot, the second baseman, went to the bench. And the Cubs have benefited. They're a little more athletic now. Castro is doing a great job. And all of a sudden, the Cubs look like they have a dangerous, deep lineup with a number of hitters coming out of long slumps.
You definitely want to have versatility in your lineup. And Rudy Jaramillo, speaking with him before the game, felt that they were built on too much of a fly ball hitting team, using Wrigley Field and the wind blowing out, but half of the time it blows in. There's Rudy sitting in the dugout, doing a great job working every day with these hitters. He wishes he had a cage a little closer to the bench so he could get a little more work in with his players. The cage is all the way out in right field.
Part of the charm of a 100-year-old stadium, or almost a 100-year-old stadium. Oral, when you pitched here, how long after you walked into the park did you look to the flags to see which way the wind was blowing?
I didn't even get in the park. I got off the team bus and you looked at it. Fortunately, the bus parked in a place where you could see the flags.
And if they were blowing out, you came down with the flu?
No, you didn't get Wrigley elbow or anything like that, any of those ailments that are out there.
Runner at first, nobody out, 1-1. Carpenter on the mound. And he misses outside, the ball 2 to Castro.
Well, it's the action pitch. If Lou is going to do anything, you'll see it happen right here. And Castro's been a fabulous fastball hitter the entire time he's been up. He's played all but one game of the 70 games that he's been in a Cub uniform. And Rudy Jaramillo says he's learning to let the ball come to him and hit the breaking ball also.
Now Chris Carpenter is a big guy, but he's not as big as his shadow makes him appear. With the sun setting off to the left, his shadow on the mound is reaching out almost to where Colvin is taking his lead.
So you want to drag a bunt down third, right? Or have that throw come right out of that little sun to first base. Nothing.
Carpenter falling behind, and this is not typical Chris Carpenter. He's usually got very good command. And boy, when he gets ahead of a hitter, he's tough. Batters are hitting only 138 after Carpenter gets ahead of them, but he's fallen to behind Castro. Waiting on deck, Derek Lee. He's on a hitting streak. The hot Aramis Ramirez behind Lee. Runner is going. Pitch taken for a strike. Throw down. The tag, and they got him. What a play by Ryan, the shortstop.
The throw is on the third base side, and Colvin stopped as he went to slide. He stuck in the mud. It wasn't an aggressive, hard slide. Otherwise, he would have been safe because the throw was on the third base side of the bag. It's
one of my pet peeves is that stand-up slide, because to actually stand up, you don't get to the bag. You actually pop up before you get there. Great throw right there. He did slide a little early.
So we've had the Cubs lose a man on the base pass in the bottom of the first. Ryan Ludwig technically caught stealing home to end the top of the first when Matt Holliday got hung up in a rundown between first and second, and Ludwig broke for home. So some early opportunities for both teams, and they've come up empty so far. Chopper foul, and Castro continues to battle.
I'm sure what's happening there with a 3-1 count. Colvin's going, figures that Castro's going to hit a fastball if in fact he gets one. He slowed down when he looked in, thinking it was ball 4. Then he went into his slide.
You see that pop-up slide as you come up, you have to be slowing down with your back leg and getting your front leg ready to pop up. So you're right, Bobby, it's not a hard slide.
No.
Backhanded by Ryan, throw on the money to get Castro 2 down. A look at the defense behind Carpenter tonight for the St. Louis Cardinals. Left to right in the outfield, Matt Holliday, John Jay, and Ryan Ludwig, who's mentioned, just back off the DL, missed 4 weeks with a calf injury. Felipe Lopez into Brendan Ryan on the left side of the infield. Skip Schumacher and Albert Pujols on the right side of the infield. And Yadier Molina, generally acknowledged as the best defensive catcher in the game, catching Chris Carpenter.
I always like to watch guys when they go back into the bench after a possible missed sign. You know you're in a 3-1 count, but it could have been a run and hit, and you hit if it's a strike.
Yeah, I doubt that there was a sign, right, Earl?
Right.
But he's just saying, hey, you get that strike, I want you to put it in play. I'm looking in, and they're discussing it. I love that they're discussing it.
As you go to get a good solid jump, you're running on a 3-run pitch. If it's a strike, you should really protect your runner, just like if it was a running sign.
Ontario's given some good advice to the young Castro there in the dugout.
Well, how things changed. The Cubs had a runner at first, nobody out, and a 3-1 count on Castro. Now 2 outs, nobody on, and Carpenter is out in front of Derek Lee. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Lee hitting .252 with 11 home runs. And he misses low with a fastball, does Carpenter. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
The thinking on that play, if I can, Dan, real quickly, is when it's 3-1, you tell your hitter, get a pitch that you want in your spot. A lot of times the hitter thinks, well, if he gets a strike, he's going to swing at it. That's not the case. The pitcher makes a great pitch. Take it. He did, and he got thrown out at second.
I'll tell you, as a starting pitcher, it's a breath of fresh air. It can turn a whole outing around, because something like that, if the first inning starts to spin out of control, maybe you're feeling your way through the game so far, getting used to the Wrigley perspective out there, and then all of a sudden you get 2 outs, nobody on, you feel a lot better.
2-2 curveball. Lee sends it to left field, right at Holliday, and the inning is over. No runs hit, nobody left at the end of 1. No score here at Wrigley. franchiser. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell. The rivalry that is the Cardinals and the Cubs. The Cubs winning the first 2 games of this series. John Jay back at the plate. He was the batter when Ryan Ludwig was, we're now told the scoring is, just out trying to advance. As he was nailed going home, Jay drives the ball a long way to right center field, and it'll drop at the base of the track. And Jay is into third base standing up. Marlon Byrd, Colvin are both there. Still sunlight out in that part of the ballpark. But boy, that ball was in the air a long time.
In the air a long time, and you see the wind blowing in. The ball is hit very high. If it's blowing out, it's a home run. Marlon Byrd thinks he needs every bit of the ballpark. He's going to the wall, or it drops right in the middle of the warning track.
First game of this series where the wind is blown in. They've shagged during batting practice. They've gotten used to it. But ball at this height really gets knocked down by the wind. Actually, that ball came backwards towards the infield. Marlon Byrd really not even sure if he or Colvin is going to get the ball. But you've got to be a captain as the center fielder and really be aggressive there.
I think he wanted it. He just misjudged it. As you said, that the wind brought that ball back towards home plate.
So a leadoff triple for Jay. They're in on the corners now for the Cubs as Skip Schumacher lifts one into shallow center field. It'll drop for a base hit. And Jay is in to score as the Cardinals take a 1-0 lead.
Schumacher's one of the real interesting left-handed inside-out hitters in baseball. Pitch him away and you pitch him soft. I don't think he has much of a chance. Here Dempster tried to come in on him, and he got his hands in enough to loop that ball in left center field. You see as it comes in on him, they wanted to really move it in off the plate. He gets it in and he fights it off and just dunks it into left center field.
Yadier Molina, the batter. The St. Louis Cardinals scoring first tonight. And guys, they have the best record in the majors when scoring first in a game this season. They are 38-9 when scoring first. And this is the first time in this series they have scored first in a game.
You give their big three a lead, or they're tough to come back on.
Bobby talking about Adam Wainwright, and Jaime Garcia, and Chris Carpenter, who's on the mound tonight.
The Cardinals are just behind San Diego for the best team ERA in the National League. And San Diego's got an outstanding pitching staff. And the Cardinals are right there with them. The Padres are at 328. The Cardinals are at 330. And you talked about the big three, Wainwright, Carpenter, Jaime Garcia, the rookie left-hander. Their collective ERA, those three guys, is 2.44. And they are 34-12. That's why a lot of people are thinking maybe the Cardinals guys are going to go out and get somebody else to bolster the back end of that rotation. There's Garcia, who, like Tyler Colvin, has to be in the mix for National League Rookie of the Year.
They thought they had a full rotation starting the year out, but Brad Penny and Kyle Loesch injuries, so they've had to really have a patchwork there in the 4 and 5 slot.
And Loesch is throwing, but Penny is a distant way off.
So they've got Jeff Suppan and Blake Hawksworth in the rotation right now as Molina strikes out.
Jeff Suppan
off to the right. Well, this is Hall of Fame weekend, which is why John Miller and Joe Morgan are not here. The Hall of Fame induction class of 2010, Andre Dawson going in as an Expo. Whitey Herzog, who of course had some great years managing the St. Louis Cardinals. Umpire Doug Harvey.
My friend John Miller.
And our own John Miller with Joe Morgan giving the speech, introducing John Miller. The bunt by Carpenter will move the runner along. John Miller, congratulations, John, as he is awarded the Ford C. Frick honor this year for major contributions in baseball broadcasting. And he certainly has done that on the local side, on the national side, on television, on radio, regular season, postseason. You name it, he's done it. Congratulations to John Miller and also to Bill Madden, a longtime writer for the New York Daily News, who received the Spink Award for major contributions in baseball writing. So John is there, was accepting his award today, and Joe Morgan, of course, is a Hall of Famer, goes back every year on induction weekend.
Here's one of the situations where the 8th place hitting pitcher bunted the runner over to get to a 196 hitter who drives the ball up the middle, gets an RBI.
In to score on the play is Schumacher. And the Cardinals lead 2-0.
Well, hitting your pitcher 8th is not designed for that, but it worked out that way. It's designed so that there'll be somebody else on base when Albert Pujols hits in the 3-hole when the order comes around. Fastball away, slightly up, basic strike on an 0-0 pitch, but probably too good with a man on second and 2 outs. You've got 2 batters to get 1 out with first base open.
So the Cardinals with a couple of runs here in the second. Drawing a throw is Ryan. It has been a while since Brendan Ryan came up with this kind of a base hit. Hit with a man in scoring position. It's been a tough year for him offensively all season long. Under 200 on the season. We'll see if he's on the move at some point as Felipe Lopez steps in.
Felipe's a very good offensive player, but he is a liability on defense, and Tony can't wait to get Freese back, I'm sure, so that he can be playing third base on a regular basis.
Runner going, throw down, safe at second on a close play is Ryan.
Great jump and great slide. What you need to do, you can't accelerate full speed ever running from first to second, but you need to go as quickly as you can, and your start and your finish is really what makes the difference. This is a very good acceleration. He doesn't slow down when he peeks in. He doesn't even peek in, and then he takes a harder slide into second base to be safe just by a tad.
Now base hit likely brings home another run as Lopez takes outside ball 2.
And Brendan Ryan has won the battle of 90 feet twice. At shortstop, he made a great pickup and got the tag for an out, and there makes a great slide and slides the outside part of the bag with what Bobby called the great acceleration. And so he's a plus 180 feet.
That's pretty good for the second inning.
If you're a hockey fan, you know what that plus minus is like.
Blocked by Soto.
And if you're not a hockey fan, this game of baseball is all about time and distance. And he had to run that 82 feet quicker than Soto was able to get the ball down to second base, and it was just a split second that he beat it by.
Well, the Cardinals getting a couple of runs really from the bottom of their lineup. An RBI single by Schumacher, a sacrifice by Carpenter, the pitcher, hitting in the 8th spot, and a clutch RBI single by Ryan. Lopez went around and the count is full. Lopez actually was a late scratch in the lineup yesterday. He made 2 bad defensive plays, really, which could have been made. 2 plays he should have made on Friday. And then he apparently was one of a number of Cardinals who, in part because of the weather, rainstorms, was late getting to the ballpark yesterday, and he was scratched from the starting lineup. They'll take high ball 4. More baseball coming your way on ESPN tomorrow night and Wednesday night. First on Monday Night Baseball. Tomorrow at 7, it is Triple Crown contender Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers taking on Evan Longoria and the Rays. And then Wednesday Night Baseball on ESPN, another look at the Cardinals. They will take on the New York Mets. Both games also available on ESPN3.com. We'll see if home cooking treats the Mets better than this road trip did. They were just out west and lost 9 of 11 games, including a loss to the Dodgers today.
Some might say they lost 10 of 11 because one of the games they won was on the play at home when Henry Blanco didn't tag the runner out, but was called out at the bottom of the ninth.
And Atlanta's got a pretty good lead right now in that National League East. Ludwig, the batter, checks the swing, and he takes inside of the knees a ball and a strike. For Detroit, a team we'll see tomorrow night on ESPN. Maglio Ordonez breaking his ankle. Inge is already out. Zumaya's already out. Guillen hurt his calf yesterday, and all of a sudden the Tigers are the walking wounded right now as they try to keep pace with the White Sox and the Twins. Check the swing. 2-1.
With the pitcher batting 8th, which has Albert Pujols in the 3-hole, this is a situation where his presence is even felt, where it's not a base runner that could be on, but just having him in the on-deck circle creates different pitch selection at an earlier point.
I think Ryan Dempster's kicking himself because he gave that fastball to Ryan, knowing he has such a great slider that he'd never try to run in on. He threw him right down the middle, gave up a run, walked the next hitter because of it, I believe. And still struggling on the mound, thinking about that one pitch. Should have been out of the inning, I think.
It should have definitely been a higher quality fastball, better location than just a basic up strike on the outer half.
First and second, 2 down, and a 2-2 count. Fastball high, full count. Now the runners will be on the move.
And this is what you mean, Earl. His pitch is the slider on 3-2. He loves to throw it. He loves to get a strikeout with it. But looming in the on-deck circle is Sir Albert,
who had 2 home runs off of him the last time he faced him.
There go the runners. Swing and a miss by Ludwig on the slider. And the inning is over. The Cardinals, though, get 2 on Dempster and have the lead early here in Chicago. Yesterday, we sat down with Carpenter and asked him about how one pitch can have multiple personalities.
You get all kinds of different areas in the strike zone, up, down, in, out, soft, hard. You can take a little off, you can put a little on, move it here. I mean, there's all kinds of different things that you can do with just one pitch, and it's all about location and velocity.
Oral, you're an expert on multiple personalities.
and multiple pitches off of one signal. The catcher can give you one signal, maybe just a basic fastball away. He can also give you a signal that's a fastball away and then change his different parts of his target, maybe more halves of the plate or corners of the plate or even off the plate. What you try and do as a pitcher is when you're going to throw that pitch, you think in the back of your mind, not only is it a fastball away, but what type do I want to throw?
What type, as in 2-seamer, 4-seamer, cutter? Is that what you mean?
That, and then in your mind's eye, what is my general range of where I want this ball? Am I going for halves of the plate because I want a basic strike? Am I going for the corner because I'm ahead in the count? Or am I so far ahead in the count and it's such a big hitter that I want to go throw it almost a ball and make the hitter get himself out?
2-2, the count on Aramis Ramirez. Is this a thought process all pitchers have, or do you have to kind of mature into this thought process?
I've only been in a few other pitchers' minds that you have deep enough conversations like this. I could tell you Tom Glavine, Greg Maddux, John Smoltz, not because they were all Braves, but they were all very intelligent pitchers. Chris Carpenter, Roy Halladay, guys that have command, are tacticians that really understand that pitch is more important than just throwing it.
Lined into center, a base hit.
Well, the basic fastball away for a strike in an 0-0 count for Chris Carpenter is one where he's aiming for a half of the plate. This one is mostly in the middle, but it's on the outer half, and it's a basic 0-0 pitch. But once you're ahead, you aim more for the corner in your mind's eye, and he executes it perfectly out there. Then Ryan Howard, 0-2 count. Keep it down and keep it away. He does. Make the hitter make an out on your pitch. If he wants to swing at it, he can. 3 fastballs away, but 3 totally different fastballs away.
How old would you say you were when you started to grasp some of the things you were just talking about?
Probably only had 2 levels of thinking when I was in AAA, an early big leaguer, but then learned the 3rd level of thinking when I was up here, maybe a year and a half, 2 years into my career.
Marlon Byrd, ground ball to third. The second one on to first, not in time.
That seems like just a great hustle play by Byrd, and it was. He was right out of the box going as hard as he can. But that's the feed by Lopez here at third base. He's got to get that a little quicker over there and make that play. He didn't do it, but Byrd was going, as he does every minute he's on the field. He goes as hard as he can, as often as he can.
Byrd at first, 1 out on the fielder's choice. The batter now Alfonso Soriano, who somewhat quietly is putting together a pretty nice season. He's still streaky, still strikes out a lot, but he's got 18 homers, 53 RBIs. The days of leading off seem to be permanently in his past, so instead of thinking like a run scorer, he's now thinking like a run producer. 1-1.
He was the only guy during batting practice that was actually turning the wind around consistently, and he has such an easy approach in batting practice that the ball still flies off of his bat.
He has a very whippy swing. He's very good at keeping the butt end of his whip, like his body, still rotating around that, and then he uses a big, long bat to create that bat speed. What a great low ball hitter.
Carpenter got in on his hands. Fly ball, shallow left. Holiday makes the catch. 2 down, and Byrd back to first.
You talk about he's a great low ball hitter, kind of a buggy whip swing, but you can get in on him even slightly up. That's an up strike, and you just look at him. The hands are coming down and in, and he's dropping the head. But look at that back shoulder drop a little bit, slows the bat down, gets in on the label of the bat, and jams him.
Kind of mistimed his swing there a little, Arl.
I think his front foot was down late. Yeah.
Just didn't move his hands in enough. The ball kind of moved in a little on him. Otherwise, that might have been one of those souvenirs out there in left field bleachers.
I think he could have made that swing if the ball would have been slightly away from him. I feel like he would have timed it up a little better.
Here's Giovanni Soto. There's a big, slow curveball for a strike. Soto, another hot Cubs hitter. He's driven in 17 runs in his last 18 games. There you can see the power that he has shown lately. Starting to look more like the guy who won Rookie of the Year 2 years ago, rather than the guy who hardly hit it all last year. And the Cubs as a team have really started to come around. For Soto, the last couple of months. For Aramis Ramirez, this month. For Colvin and Castro, the last couple of weeks. Derek Lee hitting better. And the Cubs have become a potent offensive bunch. Ground ball to short. Busy night early for Ryan. The force to the bag at second. And the inning is over. We're at the end of 2 here at Wrigley with the visiting Cardinals leading 2-0.
is brought to you by One A Day Men's, the official multivitamin of MLB, specially formulated for men. And Mazda, Zoom, Zoom Forever.
Some great shots past and present of Navy Pier. Built in 1916, it is Chicago's #1 tourist attraction, including a Ferris wheel, which is 150 feet high. Any takers? No shot.
I love
You go up there?
wheels.
Really?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think up here in this press box is high enough, don't you think, Earl?
I don't mind heights.
Yeah.
I just don't like get to the edge of them.
There's Albert Pujols leading off the third. The Cardinals up 2-0, trying to salvage the final game of this 3-game series. Pujols walked his first time up. But Pujols right now hitting .301. The last time he was under 300 this late in the season was 2002. His second season in the big leagues. It's a big bouncer to third. One down.
He's really conscious of that inside pitch.
Let's check in with Ryan Burr with a Baseball Tonight update. Ryan, thank you. The Angels also making a move today as they picked up Dan Herron from Arizona for Joe Saunders and a couple of prospects. Thoughts?
A lot of frowns with that move. Can't figure it out. I think possibly California's going to move Herron again for some offense. I can't figure out why they would do it otherwise.
And Dan Herron, of course, is one of the big names that's been talked about. Cliff Lee's already been traded. Roy Oswalt is still out there. The Cubs' Ted Lilly, his name has come up. The Tigers with all kinds of injuries, including the broken ankle for Maglio Ordonez that could keep him out 2 months, and Ubaldo Jimenez hit hard yesterday.
And his control is really off. He needs a mechanical tune-up, doesn't he, Earl?
He definitely does.
3-1 on Matt Holliday.
He's on his back leg a lot, front side spinning out, the sinker is up, and he doesn't even know which half of the plate it's going to.
Bobby Apodaca is on it. I'll guarantee you they're looking at video as we speak.
Holliday with a high fly ball to left field, but again, maybe just in on his hands a bit. And it stays in the park for Soriano.
Now, watching BP today, balls that were hit below the bleacher level were carrying. Balls above the top level of the bleachers, where the roofs are, those were getting knocked back.
So that wind that's coming in swirls around this little horseshoe of a stadium and carries balls out. If you get up above that stuff, it knocks the high flies down.
Here's John Jay. Bobby, I'm curious. You, of course, have spent countless numbers of games down on the field here at Wrigley Field. But coming up the elevator, walking around on the concourse, getting the bird's eye view here of this great ballpark. What do you think?
I'll tell you, Dan, Whitey Herzog, great friend and coach, said that Cooperstown is heaven on earth. Well, if that's heaven, this is heaven B, because this is the most perfect situation I could even imagine. What a day.
We're very lucky. We can see, obviously, out beyond center field, the rooftops, and out to Lake Michigan. This is just a perfect evening for a ball game. The 2-1 to Jay, who tripled and scored his first time up.
This is one place that I may join the protesters if they ever decide to build a new park.
I'm talking about building a new park. They're putting the Ricketts family is putting $100 million into renovations here in this stadium to make it more fan friendly. And there's the same ball. He hit it twice.
And this time Bird with a basket catch just on the edge of the track. Otherwise, Jay might have had another triple. The inning is over. 2-0 Cardinals. trying to pick up another game on the Cardinals and trying to make things a little bit more interesting for their fans heading into the last couple of months. And the Cardinals and Cubs still have 9 more games between them the rest of the season. Hard to believe the Cubs haven't been to St. Louis yet this year. We're approaching August. The Cardinals and Reds, incidentally, the top 2 teams in the National League Central, have 6 games left with one another, 3 in each ballpark. There's the 1-1 to the second baseman, Ryan Theriot. And he takes down and away ball 2. That looked like a hard slider there, Earl. That's not a pitch you see Chris Carpenter throw very often.
A little cutter slider.
Cubs are hitting some balls hard, though, tonight. They haven't scored yet, but they are swinging it well. A base hit for Theriot as we check in with Ryan Burr again with a Baseball Tonight update. Here, Ryan, the bunt placed down by Ryan Dempster. That will be, Bobby, his 12th sacrifice of the season. He's really helping himself out there.
I think if you could bunt your position and field your position in the National League, you'll turn a 500 record into 4 games over. So instead of being 8-8, you could be 12-6, and what a difference that makes at contract negotiation time.
He did a great job with this bunt. The bat's out in front, catches the ball with his top hand. Just deadens it out there. It's a perfect bunt. You don't even need angle when you bunt the ball that distance. You can bunt it anywhere you want, third, pitcher, or first, if it's the correct distance.
Well, the sacrifice for Dempster moves Theriot to second. 1 down and back to the top of the order for Colvin. In the clubhouse before the game, we said, all right, Tyler, say your last name for us. Colvin or Colvin? He said, I don't care. And we said, well, you have to care. It's your name. How would you like us to pronounce it?
And the tiebreaker was?
Well, I said, how does your mom pronounce it? He said, Colvin. But my granddad says Colvin. And mom wins, right? Mom trumps granddad. No disrespect, granddad, but mom wins. So it is Tyler Colvin who is having one of the best seasons of any rookie in the National League. All of these numbers put up in now 217 at-bats. A guy who was an afterthought coming into the spring, an incredible spring, made the team and has now become pretty much an everyday player. He strikes out here as Molina completes it with the throw to first. The runner holds at second.
I told him put up numbers like that for 10 years and people know you just as Tyler.
That's right. Tuesday night on an all-new E60. Among the stories featured, Michael Smith sitting down with Rays pitcher David Price and talking about the private pain Price has endured since becoming a professional nearly 2 years ago. E60 presented by Ford on ESPN Tuesday at 7. Price, the ultra-talented young left-hander for the Tampa Bay Rays, a 13-game winner now. Tampa Bay, they had a bit of a valley before the All-Star break, but it looks like they're rounding into form again. They're on the heels of the Yankees, and with the Red Sox dealing with so many injuries, Boston just hoping to get Pedroia, Martinez, Ellsbury, get those guys back so they can make a run. Castro takes down and away, blocked by Molina. The count 1-1.
We talk about youth. Starlin Castro is the youngest starting member in the major leagues. He's 20 years old and playing every day in a town that eats and sleeps and sometimes regurgitates their baseball players.
And that every day is a big, big step. You think that Lou Piniella has not had to sit him down to get his head right at any time, where the game is spinning out of control, that he's been able to take the daily pressure and the daily performance.
Fly ball to right. Ludwig raced back, picked it up, angled to his left, made the catch, and the inning is over as the Cubs leave another man on. Taco Bell. Dan Shulman to Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser. Glad you're with us here. Top of the fourth inning at Wrigley Field. The Cardinals looking to avoid being swept, and they have a 2-0 lead. As we go to the top of the fourth, both runs scoring in the second on RBI singles by Skip Schumacher, who's the batter right now, and Brendan Ryan. Down and away, ball one from Ryan Dempster. After Schumacher, it'll be Yadier Molina, and then the pitcher, Chris Carpenter. Some Cub news announced. I guess it's news. Newsworthy. A little bit earlier today, Lou Piniella updating everybody on the status of Carlos Zambrano. Suspended on the restricted list after his latest tirade a few weeks back. Went through an MLB anger management program and is currently pitching with AAA Iowa. It is expected that Zambrano is going to rejoin the team next week for their series at Colorado. Zambrano pitched a couple of innings yesterday. The reports were positive, said Lou Piniella. And he's supposed to pitch one more time before rejoining the team. Bobby ostensibly in the bullpen. It's expected that would be the role. But before he does anything, as the pitch is high, ball four to Schumacher, it sounds like Zambrano really has to make amends with some of his teammates. They have seen this act before. It's gone on a number of times. There have been other apologies, but then he follows that up with other tirades. And it seems like, quite frankly, the Cubs have had enough of that behavior.
And talking to Derek Lee before the game, though, he's all ready to let bygones be bygones. They're teammates. He wants them back. Many of these teammates want him back, and they want him under control when he gets there and show his emotion against the opposition, not against his teammates.
Molina out in front of the breaking ball, 0-1.
Derek Lee and Carlos Zambrano have been friends and teammates for a long time. Derek said, forgive and forget. Let's move on. We need him focused, and we need to make a comeback in this half, and we'll be welcoming him back with open arms.
And it's not like he's going anywhere at $18 million a season for the next couple of years, unless they just basically decide to cut ties with him. The Cubs, roll the dice and see if they can get him back on track to the pitcher he used to be.
Lou will not be here next year, has announced his retirement, and we're moving on, but he's going to give his best every day, and that will be one of his main focuses, to get Zambrano merged back in with his teammates.
The 0-2 to Molina. Breaking ball grounded to third. The second one on to first, and plenty of time to get the slow-moving Molina. 5-4-3 double play.
This is a situation where your third baseman, who's experienced and been around a long time, knows the speed of the runner, gets it on a big hop. His job is just to make the good throw. Let the second baseman be the quick guy. If the feed man is the sure man, the double play is usually turned at this level, and you saw it there with Terrio making a real good pivot at second.
Terrio, of course, had been a shortstop the last few years, so he's used to seeing that runner barreling in on him. Now he doesn't have the benefit. He can hear that runner, but he doesn't see him nearly as well as a second baseman.
Exactly so, and it's all footwork adjustment coming into the bag from second base, and it looked like he had it down there.
And a little bit of fear adjustment of feeling that runner coming down on you.
The 0-2 to Carpenter, and he chases a breaking ball. A quick inning, in part thanks to the double play for Ryan Dempster. At the end of this break, we will visit with Cardinals manager Tony La Russa. The Cardinals leading 2-0 here, middle of the fourth. Bottom of the fourth here on Sunday Night Baseball. We now welcome Tony La Russa, the manager of the Cardinals, from the dugout. Tony, thanks for joining us.
Tony, this is Oral. Adjustments that Chris Carpenter's made over the last few starts to really get back on track.
Well, I think he and Dunk know each other so well that when he gets out of whack, I mean, there's one or two or three things that are pretty common. And, even as experienced as he is, sometimes he gets competitive and he jumps out of his delivery, and they've made the adjustments. He's just more together now.
And for Albert Pujols to be under 300 this late in the season, what do you see that he's doing up there at the plate?
Well, at times he just, we struggle offensively, and he wants to do it all by himself, like that last at-bat, that 1-0 sinker that was down in the first at-bat. He took the patience and walked. He's expanded his zone some, but he's still producing. He's still very dangerous.
Tony, we appreciate it. Thanks for the time.
Okay.
Tony La Russa, the manager of the St. Louis Cardinals. Isn't it interesting, Oral? You're talking about Pujols, a 3-time MVP, Carpenter, a Cy Young Award winner. Both guys have been around a long, long time. Both still needing to make adjustments on a daily basis in order to be their best.
Up on the dais at the Hall of Fame was an ex-teammate of mine, Eddie Murray, Hall of Famer, that said this game should not be called baseball. It should be called adjustments. You make them every day. You make them every at-bat. You make them every pitch as a pitcher.
And the adjustment, so those out there, boom.
Derek Lee smokes one into the left field corner. It's now an 8-game hitting streak for Lee. He's got himself a leadoff double. And the leadoff man, guys, has been on all 4 innings now for the Chicago Cubs. They didn't cash in at all in the first 3.
And the mechanical adjustments that player make is to get back to having a swing like this. This ball's in off the plate. Derek Lee gets his hands in because his body is perfectly in place with a firm front side. The hip leads the shoulders, the shoulders bring the arms deliver the bat, and he kept the ball fair for a double. The adjustments that players make is to get back to square one, to where they're feeling right as often as possible.
Aramis Ramirez tried but failed to check the swing. Ramirez with a base hit his first time up. The overall number is not impressive by Ramirez's standards. This is a guy who most seasons drives in 100 runs. But just in the month of July, he's hit 9 home runs and driven in 24. So more than half of his homers, more than half of his RBIs have come this month. And what a difference that makes in the Cub lineup.
And the Chicago Cubs lead the major leagues with 30 home runs in the month of July. And Lou Piniella says a lot of that is because the wind's been blowing out most of their home games.
Well, 2 trends are happening in this game. The Cubs are not struggling to get men on base, but they struggle to get people in throughout this season. And Chris Carpenter is a different pitcher with nobody on base than he is with runners on and runners in scoring position. He gets tougher as the situation grows.
Where's the curveball tonight, Merle?
He's throwing it, and he'll see it more after people get on. That's when he uses it to create those numbers. When runners are on, when runners are in scoring position, you see the numbers start to plummet.
Well, we only seen it twice to Soto, I thought, back to back, where he used it to the red hot hitting Giovanni Soto. Other than that, he's been this fastball and that cutter, which really is a takeoff cutter, isn't it? Looking like a little frisbee up there.
He just kind of comes around it a little bit and pulls it away. Slipped on that one. It's a good sinking fastball, though, and a great deception on the delivery. Well, he gets through this, and sometimes you land on your front foot and you catch the outside spike, and you see he's not directly in his normal hole. And as you come down the hill, if you're rushing, sometimes your foot doesn't land flat.
There's the curveball, fouled off by Ramirez. Big 2-strike pitch for him, right, Oral? The curveball, a put-away pitch?
It is, and it's a pitch that he has the second most strikeouts in the National League on breaking balls. Curveballs or sliders for what's in the big leagues, actually. Number 3 is Adam Wainwright, and Mr. Liriano is number 1.
Fastball chopped to third. Lopez looks the runner back and throws out Ramirez. Well, the growth of Chris Carpenter over the years has really been remarkable. He came up as a very highly touted pitcher with Toronto. but said he just didn't grasp some of the subtler aspects of pitching back then. In his 6 years with Toronto, he was 49-50 with an ERA of 4.83. As a Cardinal, he is 79-27. He's won a Cy Young. He's finished second another year. Now, he's also had shoulder surgery and Tommy John surgery while with the Cardinals. It hasn't all been smooth sailing. But, boy, he's a competitor. And when he comes back from the injuries, he pitches as well as he did before.
When you're throwing those numbers out, he's been 41-14 against the Central during his stay here in the National League. And those are the teams he has to beat. There's the curveball.
Well, the thing I love about that right there, Bobby, is that you ask, where is the curveball? The Cubs are 0 for 6 with runners in scoring position. He still hasn't used his whole holster, his whole repertoire. So he has things in his back pocket. And that's how starting pitchers get through the second and third and fourth time through the order.
But there again, you want to call it a cutter or a slider? It's not a pitch that he features very often.
That's a cutter for me. And when he leaves it up, it definitely looks like a cutter. When he throws it down, he gets through it a little bit more and has a little more bite. But a true slider breaks about 6 inches sideways and 6 inches down. That ball's breaking about 6 inches sideways, so that would be more of a cutter for me.
Back to the curveball, and it's lined into left center, a base hit. Lee around third, and he will score on the RBI single by Marlon Byrd.
Rudy Jaramillo, before the game, goes through every hitter in the lineup and tells them how he believes the starting pitcher is going to approach them in the game. And he told Marlon before the game, you're going to get that curveball in crucial situations. I want you to hit it and drive it. That was off the end of the bat. He did hit it, and he drove in the run.
Alfonso Soriano, the batter, but he takes low. For Marlon Byrd, RBI number 44 on the season. A first-time All-Star, the Cubs' only All-Star representative this year. Soriano, in his great career, is a 7-time All-Star, but not this year. And Oral, what a joy to talk to Marlon Byrd before the game. Just get his perspective on where he is in life, where he is as a baseball player. You talk about a positive guy.
Very positive, very kind of happy-go-lucky, but focused. And talking about how much fun he has every day. Bobby complimented him on how he busted it out of the box and beat the ball to first base in his first at-bat. But when you're happy, you hustle.
I'm so happy for him. 5 years ago or so, Tim Foley called me. I was in Japan. He said,
roller to short. Ryan to Schumacher. Schumacher to Pujols. Soriano puts into an inning-ending 6-4-3 double play. 60 seconds away from a visit with Cubs manager Lou Piniella. When do we come back? The Cubs get one, now trail by 1 at Wrigley. Dan Shulman, Oral Hershiser, Bobby Valentine with you here in Chicago, joined by Cubs manager Lou Piniella. Lou, we're enjoying watching and talking about Tyler Colvin and Starlin Castro, 2 young talents. What have they meant to your ball club?
Well, they've given us some energy. They've produced, and I enjoy watching them play. They're 2 talented young kids. They're each are learning, Tyler, to learn the strike zone a little better as a hitter. And the kid at shortstop, Alan Trammell and Ivan De Jesus, have been working on with him at the shortstop position. But I'll tell you what, they're 2 keepers.
Lou, Bobby V, over 5,000 games in uniform, 1,800 wins plus as a manager. Remember that first win as a manager?
Yeah, I sure do. It was against Dick Hauser, 86 season, opening day. Butch Weiniger hit a 3-run homer in the 8th inning.
I love that you can remember the wins. How about the losses, Lou?
Well, the losses you forget.
It usually takes 2 wins to forget 1 loss,
And
doesn't
that's
it?
the truth. The losses stay with you a lot longer than the wins do, but I do remember the successes more than I do the failures.
Lou, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks.
Lou Piniella, the manager of the Cubs, who earlier this week announced his retirement at the end of the season. And he is I believe, the 14th all-time winningest manager in a Major League history. Won a World Series with the Cincinnati Reds in 1990. A 3-time manager of the year. We saw a manager go into the Hall of Fame today, Whitey Herzog. We will at some point, you have to think, see Tony La Russa go into the Hall of Fame, Bobby Cox, Joe Torre, they all seem likely. Bobby Valentine, let me put it to you, is Lou Piniella going to go into Cooperstown one day?
Yes, he is. And you talked about him as a manager with 1,800 wins. Remember, he had 1,700 hits as a player, and only he and Joe Torre have done that. Both managed 1,700 wins and 1,700 hits.
Lou Piniella managing 5 different teams, the Yankees, the Reds, the Mariners, the then Devil Rays, and now the Cubs. As Brendan Ryan hits a ground ball to second for out number 1. And as you talked about, Bobby, a terrific player as well. He was the American League Rookie of the Year in 1969 as a member of the Kansas City Royals. A guy who used to practice his swing while he was standing in the outfield playing defense. Won a couple of World Series. A terrific hitter. Had a long, productive career in the major leagues and an equally long, productive career as a Major League manager, including the World Series championship with the Cincinnati Reds in 1990. Lopez grounds out 2 down. Bobby, what do you think about when you think of Lou Piniella, the manager?
I think about a man who gave with passion every game that he played. Whether it was a win or a loss that he was dealing with, he gave his heart and his soul. Like we said before the game, Earl, it's not easy to do this job. Some people think it's easy, but it's not easy. And God bless him for the job that he's done and everything he's given to baseball.
He really has. And he has mellowed some over the years, and you hope that the average fan on the street, when they think of Lou Piniella, thinks of more than just him ripping a base out. I mean, we all saw it. We would all smile or laugh when we saw it. It's not the way he wants to be remembered, and he has certainly mellowed over the years from where he was 20 years ago. What a great pick at third by Aramis Ramirez. Ludwig retired. Lou likes that as the Cardinals go in order. Cardinals 2-1 in the final game of this 3-game series. The Cubs winning the first 2. Bottom third of the order, Giovanni Soto, Ryan Theriot, and Ryan Dempster. And the strike taken by Soto. The Cubs have had the leadoff man on in each of the first 4 innings, yet they have only scored 1 run tonight. Other than the 4 leadoff hitters in those 4 innings, the rest of the Cub hitters have gone 1 for 10. So they certainly could have done more with their chances than they have done. Ooh, there's a good curveball and a bad swing. 1-2.
His 2-1 score is too much like last year, 2009. Ryan Dempster and Chris Carpenter faced each other. Both final scores, 2-1 Cardinals.
3 games in a row, Dempster has had his team score 1 run in outings against the Cardinals.
Well, we talked about Lou Piniella last half inning. We talked with Lou Piniella last half inning. He's retiring, and it seems, guys, there are so many big-name jobs that are going to be open and so many possible candidates, big-name managers who are in the final year of their contract. And just on this list, Joe Girardi, who's from Chicago, Joe Torre, both in the final year of their contract. Ryan Sandberg, the Hall of Famer, is the manager with the Cubs' AAA affiliate. He's been managing in the system for several years. Bob Brenly is a broadcaster here in Chicago and, of course, was the manager of the Arizona Diamondbacks when they won the World Series. Alan Trammell, former Tigers manager, current Cub bench coach. And there are other names,
including Tony La Russa.
Including Bobby Valentine, whose names have at least been speculated about as perhaps being candidates for this opening.
They have plenty of time to make a choice, and I'm sure they're going to make a good one.
The Ricketts family, the new ownership group of the Chicago Cubs. It's a unique job, though, isn't it?
It's a unique job, and it's a unique situation with the Ricketts family coming in here. They have Peter and Tom, Laura, and Todd. They're all working for the team. They're putting their money where their mouth is. They paid $854 million, another $100 million for the stadium, $100 million for the building across the street. So they are invested time, energy, and love of the Chicago Cubs.
Now, speaking of across the street, across Sheffield, the street that goes behind the right field wall here at Wrigley, is a sign that has been up a long time. Amos Catulli, my Latin's not as good. Well, it's just no good.
Yeah, that's right.
But Amos Catulli, which roughly translated, we understand, means let's go Little Bears, Cubs, Little Bears. And the numbers there signify how many years it's been since the Cubs made the postseason, won the National League pennant, and won the World Series. Been 101 years. Meanwhile, down on the field, Chris Carpenter, who is highly competitive at the best of times and occasionally brings a short fuse with it, having words with home plate umpire Bob Davidson, who's also been accused of having a short fuse every now and again.
Well, Bob didn't call a balk, but he called a ball, and the ball was not appreciated by Chris Carpenter. He walked down, made a few comments, turned around, and Bob said, no, son. You might be 35, but you don't have enough stripes to talk to me like that. Took total exception to it. Tony came out, put out the fire, and let's play ball.
Ryan Theriot, the batter. Boy, if you're the Cardinals, you would just hate to have seen your all-star starting pitcher getting tossed out midway through this game, arguing a strike call. So Tony La Russa got out there in a hurry. Carpenter cooled down a bit. And this now marks the 5th consecutive inning. The Cubs have had the leadoff man on.
Well, it's going to do nothing to expand the strike zone, arguing with the home plate umpire. K-Zone has it as a ball, Bob Davidson has it a ball, and Chris Carpenter has it as a strike. One of the things I didn't like as being a pitcher is that hitters could talk to the umpire with their head down or even look at him about balls and strikes because they're right next to him. The pitcher, to get a conversation, you got to walk in there and talk to him. It's automatically you're showing him up.
I think it's got to be some text messaging going on here in the future. It's the only way to have the pitcher and the umpire get together.
Was that outside? You can't yell it from the mound. They get upset. You can't walk in and ask about it.
Theriot lines one to right center field, past the diving Jay, and all the way to the wall. Soto's going to score. Theriot on his way to third, and the Cubs have tied it.
have an upset pitcher about a ball four call, and now you have an upset pitcher about the wind blowing in and your center fielder playing too shallow. He had no chance of cutting this ball off. Right down the middle, inside out a bit by Terrio.
John Jay is playing shallow, and that's the ball we said carries, the one that's underneath the height of the bleachers, so the wind cannot knock it down. The ball up in the air is the one that the swirling winds cannot, that if they attack. That one down low, it actually gets accelerated a little bit.
So the game is tied, and now Ryan Dempster is the batter. Terrio at third. Lopez, the third baseman, playing even with the bag. Pujols at first behind the bag. The middle infielder's very deep. Chopper to Ward, third. And out at first is Dempster, and Terrio has to hold his ground at third. Let's check in now with the Ryan Burr with the Sports Center right now. And maybe more trades coming in the next few days, less than a week away from the first trading deadline at the end of the month. Now for Chris Carpenter, in the stretch seemingly all the time, the leadoff man on every inning, upset about the ball four call to Soto this inning, gives up the triple. Tyler Colvin, the batter, and he went around. And now Colvin's upset.
Blake? What we have here is Tony La Russa pulling a left-sided infield charge play with the right-sided infield staying back. It confuses the third base coach and the third base runner a bit, and at times will distract the hitter. So you have Ryan charging after Carpenter comes to the stretch, gets to an infield in position.
And is it just to get in the eyesight of Colvin, or to make him change his plan about what he's trying to do?
Well, a lot of times the hitter will just think, all I need is a ground ball to the middle infield, and I got to go ahead run across the plate. The infield's back when the pitcher takes his sign. Then he charges. He has to readjust his thinking. But also the third base coach and the runner at third have to make a big decision. Now he's telling the entire infield's charging, stay here.
Smothered by Molina.
Prior to that, it was just the left-sided infield charging. He was saying, go if it's on the right side. This is tough coaching. This is tough decision-making by the runner at third. I always did this infield defense. People thought that I was an idiot, but I particularly like the way that strategizes.
I never thought you were an idiot.
Well, some people did.
Everybody charging in again. The pitch inside 2-2. So after every pitch, Mike Quade, the third base coach, goes over, talks to Ryan Terrio. Tony La Russa out of sight, flashing signals to the infield, and the plan can change pitch by pitch.
And there was Quade telling the hitter, use the big part of the park. Get a pitch up. Use the big part of the park, he was telling him, meaning don't make this decision on us. Hit a fly ball in the outfield.
Inside on a full count. From 0-2 to 3-2 with a go-ahead run at third base. Everybody in but Ryan, the shortstop. Now he comes charging in again. Strike three called, 2 down.
Well, with all that swirling around you on the mound, you still have to execute your pitches, understand where you are in the sequence and what you want to do. And Chris Carpenter comes with the 3-2 curveball. If he walks him, it sets up a double play. He gets his infield not charging and moving around and playing in. He gets him a double play depth, assured that he can, with a ground ball, get a double play. Goes with the risky pitch and gets the strikeout.
And now a curveball on the first pitch to Starlin Castro.
That's Chris Carpenter's 12th strikeout with a man on third and less than 2 outs. That leads the National League.
And you know, when you see a player dive in the outfield and catch a ball, or an infielder knock a ball down, you always give him kudos. But when a catcher like Molina jumps 16 inches outside into the left-handed batter's box to block a curveball that's in the dirt with a runner at third, it just goes unnoticed. But I never had it go unnoticed when I was managing.
The strike 1-1. Molina peeking down to third after he caught that pitch, keeping an eye on Terrio. The youngest of the three Molina brothers. A couple of Gold Gloves, and you'd have to figure a few more on the way, as long as he stays healthy. Curveball, base hit, Cubs lead.
Well, the more you see Castro, I think the more people are going to fall in love with him here in the Windy City. Sits on a curveball. He's a fastball hitter. Rudy says he's letting the game and the pitches come to him. He has the leg kick, recognizes that curveball, and throws it out there to left center field with a very, very good swing.
So the Cubs have rallied from 2 runs down to take the lead here in the bottom of the 5th. They are trying to sweep this series from their arch rivals and make things a little more interesting for their fans with 2 months still to play in the season. Derek Lee drills one. High and deep to center. Jay back, and he makes the catch on the track. Carpenter gets out of it, but not before the Cubs score twice and take the lead. Wow. And we welcome you back to Wrigley Field in Chicago, along with Oral Hershiser and Bobby Valentine. I'm Dan Schulman. ESPN Sunday Night Baseball presented by Taco Bell. John Miller and Joe Morgan are both in Cooperstown this weekend. Congratulations again to John, receiving the Ford C. Frick Award for major contributions into baseball broadcasting. Joe Morgan is a Hall of Famer as always there, and presented John Miller today. So I'm sure a fun day for John. Got a chance to hear a bit of his speech earlier today. John and Joe will be back next week. Where are you next week, Earl? These are things you should know.
Are in San Francisco.
Boy, are you lucky you have people in the truck telling you the things you need to know.
No, I'm just lucky that the travel agent tells me where I'm going.
Dodgers and Giants, another one of the great baseball rivalries next Sunday.
I was a part of a few of those games.
the Red Sox and the Yankees the week after. So you've really got the three rivalries that are discussed more than any other in 3 consecutive weeks. Cubs, Cardinals, Giants, Dodgers, Yankees, Red Sox.
I just really don't like to lock into anything but the game we're doing, Dan.
Understood. 3-1 to Pujols, and he swings and drives one deep left field and gone. Pujols ties the game.
Well, he's searching for that swing. The best time to break out something you're working on in practice is when it's 3-0 and you're the great Albert Pujols. He got behind in the count. He saw 3 fastballs to get there. He had it timed. All he needed was a strike. He got it out over the plate. Gave a souvenir to the fans at Wrigley.
Well, he may be struggling on the fastball in, but out over the plate, he's having no trouble with it right now.
That was his first hit of the series. He had been 0 for 7 with 3 walks coming into that at bat. Home run number 23 on the season. His 24th career home run here at Wrigley. And he's done pretty well against Ryan Dempster so far this year. Hit 2 home runs off Dempster back on May the 30th here.
Ryan's got to get ahead where he could throw that breaking ball and see if Albert's going to protect the inside. There he was locked in on the ball out over the plate. And they're still waiting for the fan to throw it back.
And Holiday, the batter, he fouls it off 0-2.
It's a Pujols souvenir indeed. But Soriano's looking over his shoulder. Castro's looking over his shoulder. They're wondering if this thing's going to come flying in as the pitch is being delivered.
He's a Rocky fan. He's not giving it up.
Little squibber past the mound. Charged by Terrio. Just got him by a half step.
Once again, this is all about time and distance. What infielders have is this clock. They understand about 4 seconds. They know about 4.5 seconds. They know if it takes them over 4.5 seconds that most all runners are going to be safe. And everything they do out in the infield is based around that internal clock that they have, that young players have to learn to develop and veteran players have in their back pocket.
And young players have to develop because the big league game is faster than any game they've ever played.
And here are the average times in the majors for a right-handed batter and a left-handed batter to get down to first base. Obviously, the righty has to cover a little bit more ground, which is why you see a slight difference. And it's often said baseball is a game of inches. It's also a game of fractions of a second, too, when that clock is running in the infielder's head.
Exactly. And when you hear about bang, bang, that's a millisecond. A bang, bang play at first base, the difference between safe and out. And it all comes down to knowing the speed of your runner, knowing the ability of your arm, and having that clock running at all times.
Jay chases, ball in the dirt. Soto down to first to complete the strikeout. Well, let's look at another example of how important time is. This is Alfonso Soriano batting with a runner at first and 1 down in the bottom of the 4th. As we check out ESPN Diamond Track, this will give you a great sense of the timing of the play. Soriano took 4.67 seconds to get down to first. It was 4.3 seconds for the Cardinals to turn the double play. The time the ball is hit, the throw to second, the throw to first, and 4.67, according to what we showed a little bit earlier. That is a below average time for a right-handed batter to get down to first base.
He is below average. Remember, if it's an average runner on that same ball, which is not a hard hit ball to short.
Schumacher continues a big night. He's on base for the 3rd time, this time a 2-out double.
But as I was mentioning, if it's an average runner running down the first, that 4.3 double play, 4.3 second double play, is a bang bang play at first with an average runner going down. And that's why that clock needs to continue ticking.
Fastest right-handed batter down to first base that either one of you guys has ever seen.
Bo Jackson.
He was also the loudest runner down to first base. Oh, my God. He tore up the dirt like a skater breaking the ice.
How about on that AstroTurf in Kansas City? It was like an earthquake.
He ran around the wall, 3 steps on a wall.
So as strong a guy and as fast a guy, all in one guy, right?
Absolutely amazing athlete.
And here you have the situation with 2 outs, and the 8th place hitter being the pitcher. Your 7th place hitter is being intentionally walked. Let's see if Carpenter could come through. I've said before, I don't get batting the pitcher 8th. Maybe it's another little asterisk you could have that Tony La Russa used to do this when he managed 20 years from now. You look back. But I don't get it. Well, every game I ever managed against Tony, and he did it, I thanked him, and I think Lou's thanking him now.
Well, the stated reason is to have a position player bat 9th, so you have more of a chance of more base runners on for your big hitters like Albert Pujols.
And you don't want to bat Albert 4th, because for every position in the batting order that you move a guy down, he gets 20 less at bats.
And then you should do it every game. You should do it in the playoff games. And Tony's never done it in a playoff game or a World Series game when Elway is batting 3rd. So I don't think he really believes in this kind of thing.
We need to get the headset back on Tony after this inning and have a little discussion.
Look at this. Carpenter makes it pay off. Smokes one up the middle. Schumacher heading home. The throw on a bounce. They got him.
Time and distance one more time. With Marlon Byrd charging the ball hard, knowing he has a fleet runner at second base, and throwing this bullet to home plate. Soto with the catch, the tag.
A great throw by Byrd, and the inning is over. Night baseball presented by Taco Bell. Back at Wrigley Field, what an entertaining ball game tonight between the Cardinals and the Cubs, tied at 3. Going to the bottom of the 6th, the Cardinals were on the verge of taking the lead until Marlon Byrd threw out the potential go-ahead run at the plate to end the top half of the inning.
And now we know why Carpenter's batting 8th. He's a better hitter than Ryan.
See, in hindsight, it all makes sense.
It makes sense now.
Remove the asterisk.
Aramis Ramirez, 1 for 2. Carpenter's had a base hit tonight. Had a little verbal spat with the home plate umpire Bob Davidson over what he thought was strike 3. Wound up getting called ball 4 a couple of innings ago. Carpenter's also gotten a bunt down tonight. So He's looking for win number 12, having to work hard for it, both at the plate and on the mound.
And we've also seen two great plays by center fielders. One going back, Jay, off of the bat of Derek Lee, catching the ball on the warning track 400 feet away, and the other by Marlon Byrd, charging the ball, throwing the guy out at home.
Popped up near the plate. And Molina in foul territory to make the catch for out number 1. Well, Marlon Byrd making a great throw, and as a center fielder, of course, you've got to have enough arm to get that throw over the mound before the bounce, and you've got no shot.
And it's all about that first step and those other 6 steps he took afterward and the few steps that he took after he caught the ball. That's great defensive playing, catching, charging, catching, and throwing by Marlon Byrd.
He's also got an RBI single tonight.
We got to visit with him before the game. I said, "You look a little smaller." He goes, "Yeah, I'm about 3-4 pounds smaller." I said, "Is that on purpose?" He said, "Yeah, I knew I was going to play center field. Wanted to get a little more speed."
What a fan favorite he's become in his first year here on the north side of Chicago.
All that Marlon Byrd came here, is in the dugout before the game with excitement. He gets the plate here in a double play situation, and he beats it out because he's going to get down there a little faster than the ball's going to travel, because he's going to be more than faster than the average time at 4.23. Hustle is what Marlon Byrd brings to the game, along with very good ability.
Alfonso Soriano, who hit into a double play his last time up. 0 for 2 on the night, hitting .264. Tied at 3, bottom of the 6th. Byrd, the runner at first, just 4 steals on the season. 0-2.
That cutter tonight has been Chris Carpenter's sharpest breaking ball in the strike zone. His curveball, when it's been a strike, has been flat and kind of backing up on him. His curveball for a ball away to righty has been sharp. But if he needs to throw a breaking ball in the strike zone tonight, the cutter seems like the better pitch.
There it is. Out of the zone, but it's really a different look for hitters, I believe, and he's coming out with that in the second half.
Is this the most you've ever seen him use that pitch?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think he doesn't have confidence. Bobby noticed early on that he didn't have confidence in the breaking ball, asking where it was. He went to it and got out of a jam, but he also has given up 2 base hits on breaking balls for RBIs. And he hasn't given up a hit on that cutter, and he hasn't given up a run on that cutter. And pitchers, as they get deeper in the game, they know what's working, and they're going to go to their ace in the hole.
Soriano slices one down the right field line, drops in fair. Gets past Ludwig a little bit, around to third comes Byrd on a bloop single by Soriano.
Now, we talked about the cutters and the curveball, and that ball is a bloop hit, but it is also a curveball that backs up. Watch the sharpness of the cutter and the great location. These all look like fastballs away and end up off the plate. Now, this curveball, it's just right there in the middle. It's kind of hanging up and has no finish. So you say, but Oral, it was just a bloop hit. It still gave the hitter a chance to put it in play and find the outfield grass.
Exactly.
A big league pitcher will critique himself on that pitch because it should have been down in the dirt in a swing and miss or a rollover grounder. He left it up. He gave the hitter a chance.
Soto, the batter, another cutter that misses down and away, ball 1. Soto tonight 0 for 1. He's bounced into a fielder's choice and also walked and scored.
Now, Lou has squeezed this year, and he did it just last week for the first time, but he's not going to do it with Soto, because Soto is one of his hottest hitters.
It was twice in one weekend, Bobby. Yeah, he did it for the first time. Castro was on third both times. One turned into a successful squeeze. The other one turned into a steal of home because the pitch was so wide.
Sharply hit to short. There's one. And the inning is over on the double play where the Cubs had a chance. Couldn't cash it in, still tied. Dawson, Whitey Herzog, and Doug Harvey on their induction today into the National Baseball Hall of Fame in Cooperstown as we celebrate Hall of Fame Day at all ballparks. And our congratulations as well to our friend and peer John Miller for receiving the Ford C. Frick Award today for contributions to baseball broadcasting, and also to Bill Madden, the longtime baseball writer for the New York Daily News, receiving the Spink Award for contributions to baseball writing. Brendan Ryan leads off the top of the seventh for the Cardinals with a base hit. He is 2 for 3. Back and forth they go. This is one of these games, Bobby, where every half inning is like its own little mini drama. There's something going on in every half inning tonight.
It's a wonderful game of baseball and played well. Probably the only misplay the entire game was Soriano not being on second, or at least trying for second, on that bloop down the right field line after Ludwig mishandled it.
Well, the first diving back in is Ryan, who's already got a stolen base tonight.
Dempster has no pickoff moves this year, so we're not in jeopardy of Hawk and Bob calling something.
The Chicago Cubs lead the National League in quality starts. Some people love the stat, some people hate the stat, but more often than any other team in the National League, they've had their starting pitcher go 6 or more runs and allow 3 earned runs or fewer. Now, Dempster could be in that situation. Depends what happens to him if he gives up a run the rest of the way. But even when the Cubs get a quality start, they don't have a quality winning percentage. There goes the runner. Throw down, the tag, got him this time.
Exact same play, the exact same pitch, exact same throw, a little better tag, and probably not as great a jump, but really close play at second base. Just fractions of a second.
That's our theme tonight. Brendan Ryan thinks he was a fraction of a second safe, and he might have a case.
Might have been. You know, Boral, they say that the sprinter, the world-class sprinter, who runs a 100-meter dash doesn't get in full speed until he runs 40 meters. So the base runner is never running full speed. So the key is you run as fast as you can after you start and make sure that your finish is as good as it could be. Here's Lopez swinging this one.
1-2 on the Cardinal third baseman, 0-for-2 with a walk tonight. Dempster will battle. Been a durable guy. Former closer for the Cubs. Saved 85 games between 2005 2007. A two-time All-Star, once with the Cubs 2 years ago, once with the Marlins 10 years ago.
You know, people might be wondering why, with a tie game, is Ryan stealing there? Why doesn't Tony put on the hit and run or a bunt to get him over for sure for the middle of the lineup? It's all about time and space. Tony knows the time that Dempster takes the throw to the plate. He knows the time it takes Soto to get the ball to second base, and he was just calculating that Ryan would get there before the throw. That time's usually a little more than 3.3 seconds, by the way. To be safe.
Pops him up in foul territory. Ramirez with room. 2 down.
You know, Dan, you talked about the conversion of Ryan Dempster from reliever to starter. That same year, he started the glove wiggle when he's in his windup. And the reason he does the glove wiggle is because he doesn't want to give away his pitches. The pitch that he developed that year in 2008 was the split finger. And when he went into the glove for the split finger grip, it would change the width of his glove so that the hitter could not see the width of his glove change and his wrist going into the glove. He started to do the wiggle. So he gave it away with his wrist, and he also gave it away with the width of the glove on what pitch was coming. So he decided to start wiggling the glove so the hitter couldn't pick that up because the glove stayed narrow on the fastball and it got wider on the split. And they also could see his wrist changing. So now he does the whole twisting action so the hitter doesn't know the difference between the fastball grip and the split finger grip.
Ludwig flares one off the end of the bat into right field, a base hit. If you were his pitching coach, you say, fine. If it works for you, it's fine by me.
So many different ways that you want to hide things from the batter. They look at your grip. I always wore long sleeves so they couldn't see my wrist bones. Even when it was 100 degrees in St. Louis or here in Chicago, long sleeves, I don't want them to see my forearm because the angle of your forearm going into the glove can even give away your pitches.
And amazingly, Dan, before the game, Earl and I were talking to Dempster about that, and Earl said, well, why just start wiggling? He says, well, you know, Tyler Colvin was in the cage 3 years ago when he was an invitee. He saw me giving away my pitches. I couldn't allow that to happen. Thank God he was in camp with a strike one call to Albert on pitch away.
Pujols homered his last time up off Dempster. Sean Marshall is up in the pen. What an outstanding season the left-hander has had in relief.
Albert's really looking in right now. He's even opened up his stance more than it was earlier in the game. He's cheating inside, Earl, knowing that it's either going to be a slider off or the fastball in off, and I think he's going to try to deposit another one on that fastball in.
And the thinking there is, I beat him on a fastball away. He's going to have to come in sooner or later.
Deep to left field. Soriano makes the catch. MLB.TV. Baseball everywhere. Get over 100 live out-of-market games per week in HD quality, where available on your computer. Visit MLB.TV for details. Ryan Theriot leads it off against Chris Carpenter. The Cardinals on the season 54-44, in a virtual tie with the Cincinnati Reds atop the National League Central. The Reds lost today to Houston. So the Reds are 55-45. Cardinals percentage points ahead. Cubs 9 back right now. Lou Piniella yesterday said, and this is an actual full sentence, not splicing or taking anything away. He said, 9 games is a lot, but it's really not that much.
Okay, Yogi.
Bunted foul, 2-2, and he felt, I think, Bobby, you mentioned it earlier, that if they can get it down to 4 or 5 by the middle of August, you never know.
Lou's been there before. He knows that this is the time of the season where if your team gets hot and the other one's not, you're right in the thick of it come the end of August and September, and you're playing games that are meaningful, and that's what Lou wants to do for this ownership, for this fandom, and for himself in the last year of his managerial career.
Slow bouncer to short. Ryan on to first. Theriot retired, 1 down. Let's check in with Ryan Burr back in the studio. A Baseball Tonight update.
Pinch hitter.
I'll tell you, if he's not careful, he's going to win himself an MVP this year. The way that he's hitting and the way the Rangers are playing.
Or maybe a triple crown if he gets that batting average up.
Mike Fontenot comes up as a pinch hitter for Ryan Dempster. Fontenot at the beginning of the season, the starting second baseman, lost his job when Castro was called up, and Theriot moved from short to second. Dempster winds up going 7 innings and giving up 3 runs tonight. Foul to back, 1-2. For both of these pitchers, I don't know if at any point tonight, Earl, you could say either one of them was really cruising through the game. This has been a battle all night long for both guys.
Well, they have made adjustments. They were on the beam, off the beam, but they did what veteran, strong pitchers do, and they never gave in.
Dempster almost gave in with that last fly ball to Albert, but the wind helped him out.
Yes, he did. Like one of those high ones again, blew it back and saved him a couple runs.
You see 13 base runners allowed by Dempster through his 7 innings. There have been some double plays. There have been some runners thrown out. So both teams have had a lot of base runners, but haven't really made the most of those chances. There's strike 3, 2 down. Third strikeout for Carpenter.
And the curveball has worked on the backdoor side to left-handers, but that same area pitch to right-handers is on the inside part of the plate, and it's caused some trouble.
Chris Carpenter starts on the left side of the rubber, and so when you do that as a right-handed pitcher, K-Zone has that as a ball. Bob Davidson a little more liberal on that strike call. Chris Carpenter appreciating compared to when they went nose to nose a little bit over another pitch call.
But from that left side of the rubber, that ball does cross the strike zone on its way back into the strike zone.
It's a little easier from the left side of the rubber to throw that backdoor curveball to lefties. And that's kind of the break he has on his curveball tonight. But to righties, he's just not being able to finish it and pull it down through to have it end up low and away to righties.
Tyler Colvin, a 1 for 3. Has homered in each of the first 2 games of this series, both times in the first inning. Singled in the first inning tonight, has struck out twice since.
The story you told about Tyler Colvin helping Ryan Dempster with the glove wiggle because he could pick up his split finger compared to his fastball. That tells me that this young man is going to be able to repeat an awful lot. How intelligent he is, how much courage he has as a rookie, invitee to spring training as a young player just to be exposed to the big leaguers, and they're saying, Mr. Dempster, sir, can I mention something to you? I see a difference in your grips. I think you'll give away your pitches.
Comes up empty on the curveball. The inning is over. That is the first 3-up, 3-down inning for Chris Carpenter tonight. We're at the end of 7 and tied at 3. Dempster's done. Holiday will lead it off against Marshall.
And in part by Verizon. The signal is yours. Wield it to transmit anything you want. Verizon.
Top of the 8th at a 3-3 tie here at Wrigley Field between the Cardinals and Cubs. Welcome back to Wrigley. New pitcher now for the Chicago Cubs, and a guy who has been as good as any reliever around, really. Sean Marshall making his 52nd appearance, 6-2, an ERA of 1.78. Matt Holliday chops one back toward the mound. One pitch, one out. Marshall has given up only 1 run in his last 17 appearances coming into this one tonight. Now, there's more baseball coming your way tomorrow and Wednesday. First, it's ESPN's Monday Night Baseball at 7 Eastern. Miguel Cabrera and the Tigers are down in St. Petersburg to take on Evan Longoria and the Rays. And then more Cardinals. Albert Pujols and the Cards are at Citi Field to tangle with the Mets Wednesday night at 7 Eastern. Both games also available on ESPN3.com. John Jay looks at his strike. Jay, a 3-time All-American at the University of Miami. As a rookie, he is 1 for 3 tonight, tripled and scored back in the second. Oral, Sean Marshall came up as a guy mostly as a starter and bounced back and forth a little bit. Rotation to bullpen, had better success in the pen. And he's not your typical lefty specialist. He's facing all comers out there right now.
He's the type of guy I think could be a starter, and Ted Lilly happens to get traded. Carlos Silva not here next year. The 2011 rotation for the Cubs. You may see someone like Sean Marshall be asked, like Ryan Dempster was. There's Carlos Silva. Might see him asked, like Ryan Dempster in 2008, to move from the bullpen to the rotation. Equally tough, righties and lefties, below 200 this year. He said he would be ready for both, but he likes this role he's in right now, and who wouldn't with the success he's having.
Right center field, long run Bird. He almost overran it, but he makes the catch.
Jay has hit 3 balls into right center within 20 feet of each other, all on different pitches, all with a perfect swing. He's a very good-looking player. First time that I'm seeing him at the plate. He has a lot of moving parts, but sees the center of the ball very well, plays a shallow center field, and seems to get most everything except for that one Terrio line drive that cost a couple runs for his team.
So 2 down, and the batter is Skip Schumacher. Breaking ball for a strike.
It has been an eventful evening for Marlon Byrd in center field.
A base hit. Schumacher 3 for 3 with a walk tonight.
He's had balls in front of him and balls over his head that haven't carried and balls over his head that have carried. And it's all about the height of the ball tonight here at Wrigley Field. The high ones are getting knocked down by the wind. The low ones are actually being carried by the wind, because, Bobby, we talked about that swirling wind. If it's low enough, it hits the stands and shoots out. And if it's high enough, the swirling winds don't affect it. They get knocked down with the wind blowing off the lake. And he has had a look of disbelief in his eyes even after he's caught some balls out there.
A strike taken by Yadier Molina. Busy, productive night for Marlon Byrd. Molina 0 for 2 and intentionally walked his last time up. Schumacher at first, 5 steals on the season. The count 0-2. Sean Marshall, Bobby, has thrown 10 pitches, all of them strikes.
And they have very good movement on him. You know, he's topping out at 90, but it has a cutter on that 90. Has a little two-seamer, too. It's a guy who pitches from the third base side of the rubber that really creates angle with his size and his direction.
Jason Amott, you saw up in the Cardinal pen. Chris Carpenter is in the on-deck circle right now. So this could go either way, depending on whether Molina extends the inning or makes the last out of the inning.
So Marshall hasn't thrown a ball yet. Pretty good strike percentage.
Really high.
Yeah.
Triple digits.
Base hit. Schumacher stops at second. And now Carpenter's going to be called back.
How can they do this to him? Last time he was up in the situation, he got a hit.
Weren't they watching?
I'll tell you what, as a starting pitcher, you know you're coming up. This could happen. You have enough gas. You want to get a win. You want to keep pitching. You put all the marketing out there you can. You talk to your pitching coach.
You're okay.
Ready. I'm okay.
You got one more inning?
Yeah.
Okay, next time we'll bat you night.
Aaron Miles, a former Cub, will come up as a pinch hitter.
You got a point, Bobby, because if he was batting ninth right here, there would be no pinch hitter, and you might get another inning out of your ace right-hander, even if they go ahead if the hit was here.
Oh, you're following that drift, aren't you?
I didn't want to leave it at one little 3-word comment. Sorry. 80% of communication is tone and body language. And when you use only 3 words, I have to interpret everything else I'm watching up here for the viewer.
You're right. I'm Italian. You're seeing a lot more of the communication.
First year in the booth. I'm going to have to help you along here.
I got you, bro.
I think his meeting was pretty clear, actually.
Well.
0-1 the count on Miles. A switch hitter batting for the right side. Miles is 8 for 18 as a right-handed batter this year. Quickly 0-2. Marshall still hasn't thrown a ball.
Really is incredible. He's a strike-throwing machine. And even his pitches that go off the plate are strikes at one time. So
Yeah, the right fielder's shortened up here. You have Soriano playing a little deeper. We might have a play at the plate if he gets his base hit to right where he likes to hit the ball.
Biggest crowd of the season on their feet here at Wrigley, over 41,000. Fights it off, Miles does. After the first 2 outs were made quickly, Skip Schumacher with a base hit into center field, and he took second on a single to right by Yadier Molina.
Right now, as a runner at second base, you're thinking ball in the strike zone. When you see it in the strike zone, you're really taking off, knowing that it's going to be strike 3 called, or he's going to hit it to get a good jump.
Just foul up the first base line.
There he is, shooting that ball to right field.
Carpenter lifted for a pinch hitter. Miles batting in his place. Mott will come in for the Cards. Just like Dempster, Carpenter battled all night long, gave up his base runners, but minimized the damage. The first ball he's thrown on the 17th pitch he's thrown.
That pitch on 0-2 to Molina might have been a swing and a miss. Here we have a little better at bat going.
Just outside with a breaking ball.
When you have your reputation for throwing strikes, a lot of times you want to throw a ball that starts as a strike, ends up as a ball. That becomes a chase pitch because you stimulate the bat. There, a ball trying to creep its way back into a strike, you don't get the chase.
You're hoping for the call. Exactly.
Chopped to short. Out at second is Molina, and the inning is over. Marshall gets out of it. It's still tied here at Wrigley. Going to the bottom of the 8th. And out of the Cardinal pen comes the hard-throwing right-hander, Jason Mott, who's got some very strong numbers this season. Earlier this year, retired 32 consecutive batters over a whole bunch of appearances, obviously, as a reliever, but terrific numbers. Hard fastball, hard slider. Here it comes. See if you can hit it. Starlin Castro will give it a try. 98, but way high.
He can hit a fastball. As Rudy was telling me, he's always on time for the fastball. The key to his adjustment's going to be on time for the breaking balls, which he has been earlier in this game. But I think he's going whaling.
It's a good scouting report right there.
I mean, he was on that big boy, just a little up over his hands. Here's Rudy Jaramillo.
He loves aggressive hitters. He can tone them down. He can time them up. It's hard to get those guys that are takers to learn how to hit.
So many years as the hitting coach with the Texas Rangers. Another fastball, fouled back, 1-2. Look at Mott pounding his glove. He is wound up.
This young kid's not intimidated by 98. I'll tell you that. He might wail at a slider out of the zone right now, but he was right on those two 98-mile-an-hour fastballs up in the zone.
So, Oral, if you're the pitcher here, are you bouncing a slider?
I'm going to throw him one around his neck, or I'm going to throw him one in the dirt, but I'm not throwing him a strike.
2-2.
It was towards his neck. That's where they were going. I thought up in the zone, just climb that ladder probably would have been a fishing trip.
I think you're right. I do not like the fastball in when the guy is already proving he is swinging. You want one right down the middle too high or up and away too high. Self-preservation comes in when you throw the fastball into the hitter, and sometimes the first reaction is, ooh, I may not need to get out of the way so the bat doesn't swing. But if you get rid of that possibility in their head and make it high down the middle or away high or away low, they're still in swing mode. They never have to worry about getting out of the way. You start the bat and they swing and miss.
I think he's swinging, and I couldn't agree with him more. But they're coming in again.
Bouncer to third. Lopez. Pujols with a stretch, kept his foot on the bag, one down. With the Cardinals and the Cubs are tied at 3. The Cardinals have had not one but 2 runners erased at home plate tonight. Here on a wild pitch, the runner at first. Holiday broke for second. Ludwig creeping down the line. He broke for home. Out easily.
Because of a fabulous play by Castro.
And how about a fabulous throw by Marlon Byrd later on in the game.
He's on a string, clears the mound, one clean hop to Soto. Schumacher's out at the plate.
And that's one of the reasons why we're still tied in this game. And one of the reasons why they love Marlon Byrd. What an impact he has had on the field, in the clubhouse. The everyday center fielder, an all-star. A relative bargain given today's salaries. 3 years, $15 million. They're getting all of their money's worth out of Marlon Byrd. This is a Cubs team with a huge payroll, over $140 million, and a lot of guaranteed money already locked up for next year into the same kinds of guys. Soriano, Zambrano. Derek Lee's a free agent.
But if you mix with those high-priced players, some of these talented young players at low salary, your budget can make it.
Yep.
At least Tom Ricketts' budget can make it.
Not our budget.
Not our budget.
Well, you know you're getting $41,000 a night. Rain or shine, win or lose.
They've drawn $3 million. One of the problems they're having right now is the economy here in the Midwest, that people can't leave work like they used to go out to Wrigley Field. They're afraid of coming back and being fired. They're afraid of taking the time off. So there are a lot of empty seats for their day games, even though they are paid seats, and maybe everyone has those season tickets. No empty seats tonight.
I was going to say, tough to find one here tonight. Swing and a miss, full count. Mott, a converted catcher, spent his first few years in pro ball as a catcher. Didn't hit enough, and throwing 98, somebody made the right decision to put him out on the mound. Right field, Ludwig. 2 down as we check in with Ryan Burr. He's got a Sports Center right now. Rockies have now lost 5 in a row and starting to lose touch with some of the top teams in the National League West. San Diego won again today. Beat Pittsburgh today. And the Padres are now 58-39. The best record in the National League.
Great job, Bud Black and coaching staff and every player on that team. As Whitey Herzog said, it's not always the best team that plays, but the team that plays the best. And that's exactly what the San Diego Padres are doing this year.
The batter, Aramis Ramirez, chases that outside fastball 0-2. Here's a look at the division leaders in the National League. Atlanta lost a game off its lead today, still up by 5. The Cardinals and Reds in a dead heat atop the National League Central. And San Diego 3 up on San Francisco. The Giants are right there, both in the NL West and the wild card chase, which in the National League, once again this year, is a crowded race. Look at this. The Phillies creeping up in that race as they start to play better. It's going to be an interesting couple of months.
It's going to be an interesting few days getting to the end of the trade deadline, seeing what players really will make an impact.
Cubs closer Carlos Marmol is up.
I've been away from Major League Baseball for 6 years, and I think this has been a wonderfully exciting season thus far, and really looking forward to the next 2 months.
Was Bobby spending 6 years managing in Japan? Came back last year. Loved it, right? Loved everything about it?
Matter of fact, I did love it.
Yep.
I think when you spend 6 years, you probably love it. After the first 1 or 2, you realize what it's about. You stayed for 4 or 5 more.
Well, as James Taylor said, secret of life is enjoying the passage of time. And I passed some time over there and really did enjoy it.
And boy, when Oral and I talked to Bobby about some of the things that are different in Japan, the way the workouts are, the drills, the fundamentals, I mean, your eyes start glowing. You like the way that they attack the game of baseball.
They appreciate the game, and that field is a sacred place. When they come out on that field, they respect it.
Ground ball to short, and the inning is over. As the Cubs go in order through 8, tied at 3. To Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser, top of the 9th, tied at 3. The Cardinals and Cubs. A new pitcher into the game for Chicago. Their closer, Carlos Marmol, is in. 2.72 ERA. The big number for him. Look at the strikeouts, and then look at the innings. 87 strikeouts in 46 and a third innings. Now, he can get wild. He'll walk too many. But they have trouble putting the bat on the ball.
Already had 24 hits.
Yep. In 46 and a third. Ryan, a reasonably sharply hit ground ball, 1 pitch, 1 out for Marmol. What is it, Oral, about Marmol that gives him this outrageous strikeout total?
He hides the ball very, very well when he gets down the hill and has late rotation in his delivery. He has exceptional arm speed, and he has a very loose hand, which creates a lot of spin on the ball, so he has a lot of late movement. He really could tell the hitter what pitch is coming, and he still would be hard to hit.
Fastball for a strike to Felipe Lopez.
When he gets in trouble, he rotates too early, doesn't get down the hill. That exposes the ball to the hitter, and it makes his control worse and the ball flat. But when he's late like he is tonight, he's coming down that hill, he's getting right on top of you, and the ball explodes on you. And it doesn't have to move a lot so that you're noticing it on TV. It just has to move about an inch or two real late to get off the barrel of the bat.
And when we're talking about time and distance, remember, folks, this is getting there in 0.4 seconds of time. That fastball, 0.4 seconds, and that breaking ball was just there in 0.48 seconds. So what's the difference in time? Minuscule. Even though hitters really do have hard time timing it.
Lopez took it as he was kind of giving ground there with his front foot a little bit. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Lopez is a fastball hitter and can center one if it's down the middle.
Slider down the middle, strike 3, 2 down. If Marmol keeps up his current strikeout pace, he will set a major league record for the highest strikeout per 9 innings in one season by a pitcher.
Now, the key to that pitch, why didn't he swing? The trajectory of that ball looks like it's going to be a high fastball away. Guess what it does? It drops down in the strike zone right down the middle.
Exactly.
That jelly leg here.
Ryan Ludwig. Fastball at the knees for a strike. Albert Pujols in the on-deck circle.
You know, the hitter is standing there, and the first thing he has to do is decide if he's got a duck or if he can swing as soon as he sees that ball coming. And when he throws a pitch like that, that makes the guy at the plate just take a little longer to decide if he's going to have to duck or swing, and that really can mess up your timing.
Ripped foul, 1-2.
You know, we've talked so much over the last few weeks about Steven Strasburg of the Washington Nationals and the tools that he has brought to the big leagues and the way he has pitched. He needs a little Carlos Marmol in him.
Exactly. Too good a pitcher.
Wild.
Yes.
He is too good a pitcher. His ability really could intimidate people. A little Mott and a little Marmol.
It's not supposed to be comfortable when you're in that batter's box. That's what Don Drysdale always said.
Got him. What a job by Marmol. To the bottom of the 9th at Wrigley. Tied at 3. has gone to his closer. Ryan Franklin comes into the game to try to get this one into extra innings. An all-star a year ago. He's only blown one save this year. This is obviously not a save situation, but having another very good season. Look at his control. Just 6 walks in 38 1/3.
This is rather unconventional, Dan, to have your closer on the road come in a tie game. Mainly because the home team gets the hit twice now for every time that the visiting team hits once. It means he's got to get the Cubs out this inning and next inning if they're going to win the game after they score in the top half.
Marlon Byrd, first pitch swinging. Lopez at third, 1 down. More defensive changes for the Cardinals. It was a double switch with Colby Rasmus entering the game in center field. John Jay moves from center field to right field. Ryan Ludwig, who was the last out in the top of the 9th, is out of the game. And Franklin, the pitcher, now hitting in the 2 spot. Alfonso Soriano, 1 for 3. The last Cub hit was back in the 6th inning, and it was by Soriano. A single into right field. Soto then grounded into a double play to win that inning, and nobody's reached base since.
And that was a big play in the game because Ludwig bobbled the ball in right field, and Soriano was nowhere near making a turn around first or second. Might have been a double. If it's a double, it's not a ground ball double play, and we might have a different game right now.
Franklin painting the outside corner, jumps out in front. 0-2. Soriano's got 4 home runs in 34 career at-bats against Ryan Franklin. Just outside there. The center fielder Rasmus just moved from right center over to left center. Just took about 10 steps over toward left center field. So obviously the Cardinals were trying to position him, but he must not have heard them or been aware of it, and he just got the message as he moves over.
And they're throwing everything away, and he's moving over into left center field.
So you don't like that?
Well, maybe that's where Soriano hits the outside pitch, but that leaves an awful lot of gap in that right center field.
Rookie right-hander Brian Schlitter is now up in the Cubs pen. Fouled back. One down, nobody on. The Cubs batting in a tie game in the bottom of the 9th.
Here you see that defensive alignment, and Tony is not playing prevent the doubles, which I think is a great play in this situation. He has his first baseman way off the line, his third baseman playing regularly, and the outfields have regular depth. Some managers just try to protect their butt and play no doubles in this situation, which I think is just a terrible defensive strategy.
Breaking ball lined in the left field, a base hit. And the winning run is aboard with 1 out in the bottom of the 9th.
Well, they were right. Even pitching Soriano away, his hitting chart shows that he'll still pull the ball. He hooked that one in the left field, even though it was a breaking ball. Approaching down and away. Didn't get completely there, but to the outer half. You see the coiling action of Alfonso Soriano. Coils with the knee, turns the hips, and the mechanics of a ball falling in is a good smile.
There was a time in this kind of situation where he'd be an automatic on his way to second base back in the 40 steal days, but those days are gone. Yadier Molina's behind the plate.
And you see Tony giving signals. He's giving signals to Molina as to either throw over, hold the ball a little longer to break the runner's rhythm, pitch out.
The batter, Giovanni Soto.
This is obviously the hold the ball a long time signal.
If you look at Alfonso Soriano's lead over there, he is not going to steal. He's barely a step and fall, not even a step and a dive.
And that's exactly why the pitcher holds the ball, just so the dugout can see what kind of lead he's getting, to see if he's going to be an aggressive base runner or not. Now we can pitch.
Getting down near the bottom of the Cubs lineup. So do the number 7 hitter. Ryan Theriot is on deck in the pitcher spot after that.
See, I think Soriano's lead is wrong. I think it needs to be normal length out there where he could possibly one-way long lead, because now you got a chance to get a quick step out of Franklin, cause a bad pitch because of a rush mechanic. But a short lead like that, no. He gets the high leg kick. He's getting full motion on the mound. He is not worried about Soriano running at all. And so he gets to have a delivery that gives him more comfort and a more effective pitch.
Exactly, Earl. Playing the entire game is really important to winning the little, winning the games with the little things, and that's one of the little things that's important.
A ball and a strike on Soto.
And I love the fact that he picked there, because he's used the high leg kick for the first few pitches. A runner can try and lull you to sleep with that short and then go, okay, you're going high leg kick, I'm going to go from this position first move. So you play the game both ways, and right now for me, Franklin is winning the give and take between Soriano.
Two and one.
You know who leads the Cardinals in stolen bases? Albert Pujols. Wonder why. Plays everything.
Yep.
Plays
to the
entire
degree.
Game. Yes, sir. Just so the folks aren't confused, too, Earl, the high leg kick that we're talking about is only about a 1-3, 1-3-3 time to the plate. So it's not a dead giveaway on a steal, but he has a quick step that could be initiated if Soriano was a real threat to run.
Not going. Towards right field and right at Jay for the second out. Two managers who have seen it all. Guys who knew each other as kids back in Tampa. Lou Piniella, Tony La Russa. Neither one misses a trick.
Theriot, no home runs.
They're both great baseball men. I just want to throw that in there. Not that the viewing audience doesn't know that.
With no home runs up there, you would think that Soriano would take a shot.
If they want to score this inning, I think that's the chance they have to take.
Kosuke Fukudome has come out of the on-deck circle in the pitcher spot. Should Theriot reach? Somewhat of a forgotten guy right now with the play of Tyler Colvin recently. Fukudome has become a part-time player. Rasmus has gone way back over toward right center field here with Theriot up. 0-2.
Yeah, they just moved back a couple steps in the outfield, because in this situation you want them to get two hits if they're going to beat you with 2 outs. So there is a little deeper positioning in the outfield to protect against that double that could score the winning run from first base. And Earl, I think if he's going to go at all, it would have to be on a delayed steal. The fielders aren't moving towards the base at all. The Molina behind the plate, I don't think he has a shot really with this 1-3 leg kick.
In the dirt, bounces away from Molina, and Soriano will take second.
Just like a stolen base.
Well, the lead might not have been good, and it might have allowed Franklin to take the high leg kick, but he did a great job when he saw the ball's trajectory to be a ball in the dirt. He had a fantastic jump on this block ball.
That's when they call the secondary lead. He had that short lead, but he did get off. He was landing on his right foot as this ball passes the hitting zone, and he was off and running. There was no play at second. There's a secondary lead. See that right foot coming down and turning? That was just as the ball was in the hitting zone. He read it. He stole it. And now he is in scoring position, and the outfield has to come in.
A wild pitch charge to Franklin. A ball and 2 strikes. The count Ontario, the winning run at second base with 2 down in the bottom of the 9th as they get on their feet here at Wrigley.
So the outfield had to come in. They were playing no doubles, so you can't score from first. Now, obviously, he's on second, so they have to be close enough where they could throw him out at home plate on a base hit, but not so shallow that a normal fly ball becomes a hit over their head.
Ground ball to first. Pujols feeds Franklin. And we're going to extra innings here in Chicago. And guess who is going to lead it off for the St. Louis Cardinals when we come back? He's already homer tonight. Albert Pujols will try to do some damage in the 10th inning. A 3-3 tie. Rookie right-hander Brian Schlitter comes into the game and out for Chicago. Made his major league debut less than a month ago and has already, unfortunately for him, spent some time on the DL with some shoulder trouble, but he's come back. This is just his 4th major league appearance. If you are wondering where Andrew Kashner is, a very effective, hard-throwing reliever out of the Cubs pen, he went 2 innings yesterday, unavailable tonight. Albert Pujols. And a breaking ball for a strike.
And those who are keeping score out there, that's Kashner from the TCU Horned Frogs. Very good baseball program out in Fort Worth.
Pujols grounds one to third. Fair ball. Ramirez in time on down.
Lou has his best defensive outfield out there now, knowing that he's got a tie game. He's playing at home. Soriano got the hit. He's out of the game. Fukudomi's in the game in right field.
Tyler Colvin moving over to left field. Fukudomi batting in the 9 spot. And Schlitter is in Soriano's spot, the 6th spot in the order. Matt Holliday is the batter. 0 for 4.
Holiday really got hot after he had breakfast with his agent, Scott Boras. He's the guy that turned him around, so says Matt, this year. And I don't know why he waits 6 weeks to tell those $100 million players what they're doing wrong and what they should do right. But he waited about 5 or 6 weeks and straightened them out. Thank you, Scott.
Holiday on a 10-game hitting streak right now. That's in jeopardy with his 0 for 4 so far tonight. Just up and in. Close, but no. 2-1 on Holiday.
Just a little flinch of his arms. They're all moving up. Kind of freezes that umpire for a second, and they get the ball call. Started by Frank Thomas, future Hall of Famer.
Down the right field line, Fukudome. Good effort. No play.
You are so right about flinches of when a ball is for a sure ball compared to when it's a close one. If you make the same flinch, it seems like you don't get the call.
Exactly. That's what he did when the ball was definitely inside.
I used to scream at Frank Thomas. No wonder you hit over 300. You got to throw in a teacup to you.
There's an 11-game hitting streak for Holiday.
And you get the pitch away that you can take a good swing at, and you're on base, ready to score a go-ahead run.
Welcome to Wrigley Field in Chicago. Sunday Night Baseball on ESPN, presented by Taco Bell. We're in extra innings between the Cardinals and the Cubs, with the Cubs winning the first 2 games of this series. 5-0 Friday afternoon, 6-5 yesterday afternoon. And the Cardinals have struggled in extra innings. The Cubs have a .500 record in extra innings, but the Cubs have played about as many close games as any team in baseball, and in general have done very poorly in close games, although specifically extra inning games they're 4-4. And a bad record in one-run games. Here's John Jay. He's had some really good swings tonight. Could easily have 3 hits. As Bobby mentioned earlier, he's hit 3 balls to deep right center field. 1 for a triple, 2 caught by Marlon Byrd, who once again is in left center field.
Well,
the charts say what the charts say.
Maybe tomorrow we'll move over into right center.
Loops one into left for a base hit.
Nice at bat, Jay.
You like this guy, huh?
I like John Jay.
Yeah.
Like I say, he has a lot of movement, but he drops those hands, he gets them back up in the hitting zone, and really takes a full swing every time. Does it early enough so he's in the hitting position when the ball's there.
It's not a hitch if you get it done early.
On time.
Well, it's a timing device if it's like that.
Mm-hmm. Frank Robinson did it. Stan Musial did it.
Now the Cubs have to figure out a way to get Skip Schumacher out. They haven't been able to do that tonight.
Just pitch him slow and away, Dan.
All right, let's see if they follow your advice. He's 3 for 3, 2 singles and a double. He's also walked, driven in a run, and scored a run. And Larry Rothschild is on the phone again. And we got a pitch to hit. Fouls it back. The Cardinals, like the Cubs tonight, have had their opportunities. Ryan Ludwig thrown out at home, and Holiday got caught in a rundown between first and second. Schumacher thrown out at home by Marlon Byrd to end the 6th.
That's a real good pitch to set up what you want to do to get him out, and that's something way and down. Push him away, make him move his feet, throw it in off the plate. He moved his feet. Now I think you have a chance.
Activity now in the Cubs pen. Left-hander James Russell is up.
He has such an inside-out swing, Skip Schumacher. You see Russell down there.
Jamie Russell, Jeff Russell's boy. He was my closer for a while. Great athlete, great player.
The animal?
Jeff is something, boy. I know he saved 44 games. Fireman of the year, Texas Rangers. His agent came in the next year and said, I think we're going to change things up and have Jeff only pitch 1 inning this year. I think he used him a little too much. I said, well, he's Fireman of the year. Here's the pitch. He says, yeah, but we really want him to only pitch 1 inning. And the agent got up and was leaving the room, and I said, I think I'm going to agree with you. He turned around, really? I said, yeah. but I'll decide what inning. I got a call the next day. They thought my handling of Jeff was just proper.
Good at bat for Schumacher. They've gone back and forth all night long. The Cardinals got 2 in the second, the Cubs 1 in the fourth, 2 in the fifth. And then St. Louis tied it in 6, but again, both teams with lots of opportunities to score more runs than they have tonight. The Cubs looking to sweep the series. Center field and down for a hit. Runners had to hold, so everybody can only advance a base. The errant throw is backed up by Soto. Schumacher's got a 4-hit game, and the bases are loaded.
Well, as a base runner there at second base, you have one thing to do, and that's to be halfway. If that ball drops, you've got to score. Holiday's out there. He's thinking that Marlin might catch it, and he's worried about with 1 out that he's going to go and tag up at second. You have to be halfway and bouncing.
And you have to be turned the opposite way than he was. You have to get your back to home plate.
See the play in the outfield better?
Yes, not be looking over your shoulder.
Well, I think Jose Oquendo's asking him, to do something differently next time he's out there. He goes, he stops, he goes, stops, goes, stops. No, we're not going to score on that. It was tough.
You can do it a lot of ways. You can have your hips towards third base and be looking over your shoulder. Once you have to turn your hips, that really slows you down.
So the bases are loaded. Holiday at third, Jay at second, Schumacher at first. A golden opportunity for Yadier Molina to give the Cardinals the lead here in the top of the 10th inning. Ooh, he got a hanging breaking ball, but missed it. It's 0-1.
Yeah, he did. Played against him one more time.
Sharply hit to second. And they turn the double play. Another missed opportunity for the Cardinals. After that big double play ball that the Cubs turned away in the top half of the inning, Hey, don't forget, Tuesday night on an all-new E60, among the stories featured, Michael Smith sitting down with the Rays' star young pitcher David Price and talking about the private pain Price has endured since becoming a professional nearly 2 years ago. E60 presented by Ford on ESPN Tuesday at 7. Kosuke Fukudome's first to the battle tonight came on last inning in a double switch. He's in the 9 spot. Ryan Franklin out for his second inning of work on the mound. And a breaking ball for a strike. After Fukudome, Tyler Colvin and Starlin Castro.
And Tony using his closer 2 innings on the road here shows the importance of this game and not wanting to be swept in this 3-game series.
Base hit Fukudome. Has there been a half inning in this game where nothing has happened?
Just one. Carpenter's 1-2-3 inning.
1-1-2-3 inning.
6. That's it.
Mott had one as well, but boy, every inning, as we said a little bit earlier, has almost been its own little mini drama with runners on and strategy and runners getting thrown out at the plate, double play balls.
And now we'll see a real lead at first, and Franklin he's going to give all of his tricks, his hold, his throw over. Going to see if Colvin's bunting for a base hit. I think it's the play in this situation. He's not a leadoff hitter, probably doesn't bunt that much, but bunt for a base hit, see if you can create something more than just a sacrifice, and if not, at least get that runner to second. Yep, there's the bag of tricks. We're going to hold and step off.
Yeah, he's holding not only to read the base runner, but to read Colvin's hands.
Or not.
You want to watch the hands. You're giving Lopez at third a chance to see if he's going to give away the bunt. With 3 strikeouts in his last 3 at-bats, I think he's bunting.
And then often they'll say, well, if he's not bunting, maybe it's a hit and run, and then they'll go to the pitch up. But this is going to be a pitch and a bunt for a base hit. Right one.
A little pacing by Lou Piniella. Mike Quanti, the third base coach, relaying Pinella's instructions to the plate.
And that's one of the situations when you have a young player. You know what play you want to put on, but you don't have full confidence nor the knowledge of whether or not the player can execute it. And it's all about giving him a chance and finding out. Hit and run, bunt for a hit, sacrifice bunt, hit away. What can he do best in this situation?
Didn't give anything away on the throw to first. Cubs are 9 back of both St. Louis and Cincinnati at the moment in the National League Central. 9 games to play with the Cardinals the rest of the way after tonight. No bunt, takes it inside.
Tony's looking at the signs from the third base coach, trying to figure out if this is a hit and run situation. We took the bunt for a base hit off. He let him look at a pitch. Everyone has their timing down. First base runner and the hitter. Throw over, huh?
I would.
Back to the mound. Wide throw. They'll get the out at second, but that's all. Alfonso Marquez saying Ryan kept his foot on the bag long enough. Lou Piniella disagrees.
No, when a throw takes the runner off the bag like that, you cannot give him that play. It was the throw that made him come off the base. I think he's about 8 inches off the base when he catches this ball, and Lou thinks the same. What a situation in the game. I don't think so. When it's a bad throw, you have to sell it to the umpire that you stayed on the bag. You can't just be coming off the base as though you're in the neighborhood and you're going to turn a double play.
Let's take a look.
He's out.
Got it right.
Huh?
He's way out.
I agree with you.
He's way out. It's that back foot, not the front foot. It was on the first look. I promise you, Bobby.
I'm with you.
I promise you it was on. It was the back of the bag. It was on for a full 2/100ths of a second.
All right, we got to convince
It
Bobby.
might have been.
We're going to convince Bobby. Freeze it. Right there. He's all over it.
He's barely all right. And that's a play you have to sell. You can't. It can't be like that. He's got to be on the base. That's got to be no questions asked.
You're a middle infielder, so you're real technical on the whole sell.
Well, I mean, if you're going to turn a double play, it's one thing. You could be in the neighborhood. If you're going to get a force out, you've got to be on the base. I always just thought. But it looked like he wasn't on the base for that little.
And I appreciate you giving in there.
A tenth of a second. Yeah,
I
think he was.
I think you're right. I agree with you at the end.
Yeah.
So it's a fielder's choice. Colvin at first with a 1 down, tie game, bottom of the 10th. Starlin and Castro is the batter. Castro 1 for 4, an RBI single. He's got 6 hits and 12 at-bats in this series. And he can be a hero right here. Takes down an in-ball 1.
Interesting call by Lou Piniella not to keep the bunt on. As much as he's tried to get involved with the Cubs offense, putting the squeeze on twice last weekend to kind of ignite them and get him going.
Again, I think it's not knowing the hitter, not knowing the young player. Didn't want to put him in a whole 0-2 in this situation. Only give him a little shot. Maybe when it went 2-1, he might have gone to a hit and run. Not sure. I'm a little surprised, though, also that he didn't try to move the runner over. Hit and run.
Runner goes. Pitch taken inside. Throw skips away. Colvin gets up, puts the brakes on, dives back, and is safe at second. Never a dull moment.
Action-packed.
And always when Brendan Ryan is involved, he is an athletic, acrobatic shortstop. He doesn't make the routine look routine. He's always on edge, and he's got great skills. And watch the way he goes after this ball. When it gets away from the second baseman, he goes out there and he goes for the slide and the sweep, which freezes the runner, and now he's got a chance to get him on the coming back. If he just goes for a normal reach down, he doesn't go for the slide, the runner continues. But that move right there, the slide and the one knee, freezes Colvin.
Winning run at second. Fouled off, 2-1. Well, a young, good fastball hitter got a 2-0 fastball, and they fouled it off.
And with the 1-ball count, Earl, you were mentioning surprised at Lou not being involved. Well, he came right back with the hit and run. The ball came in off the plate so much that young Castro couldn't swing at it. And it was a tough throw for Molina to throw to second. So now he's got the man on second, 1 out. Middle of the order coming up. Maybe his hottest hitter at the plate right now.
Ooh, he chased a slider down and away. This is the combination. Colvin, who's the base runner, Castro, who's the hitter. The dynamic young duo that has been so good for the Cubs in the last week or so since they were moved up to 1 and 2 in the batting order. They have been instrumental in the Cubs scoring 7 runs per game over the last week.
Sorry,
you can see Franklin has done this before. He's used to going more than an inning, and he's done a good job.
I can't believe Colvin's taking the lead on the inside part of the line like that. When he gets into third base, he has got to create an angle so he could score on a base hit. Inside the line like that makes him unable to make a good turn around third base. He should be back about 3 feet. So
without running a farther distance.
Oh, exactly. And a slower distance because he's going to have to. He's moving back now.
Got to him,
and no, he's going to move back inside the line. I don't know why he would do that.
And Castro hit by the pitch.
This is a mistake. He wants to come in. You don't want to give up the hit that loses the game, but you don't want to be in a count where you can get a young hitter out with the breaking ball low and away and hit him on the fastball in. You want to get it in there, maybe even low and in, and then go back to the breaking ball away that he swung and missed on the pitch before.
Now Derek Lee. You see his career numbers against Franklin. Lee tonight is 1 for 4. He doubled and scored in the 4th inning, extending his hitting streak to 8 games. He is a double play candidate. Right-handed batter, hits the ball hard, doesn't run that well. He's grounded into 15 double plays so far this season. Colvin the winning run at second. Out of play.
It's been a down year for Derek Lee, hitting only .233 with runners in scoring position coming into this game. Just has not found the timing, has not heated up with the weather. Of late a little bit, but not the production the Cubs had expected this year.
Aramis Ramirez waiting for an opportunity. The 1-1. Out of play down the right field line.
They had a pickoff play on a first base. Signal from Pujols to Molina. That ball's not fouled off. They're trying to get the 20-year-old too far off the base with a backdoor pickoff. There's a signal play from Albert. Pitch is supposed to be up and away. Gets in the zone, but Albert's moving right in, and I'm going to tell you at him. I think they had a shot.
That was going to be so bad it was going to be a rundown.
Well, he was moving on the swing, too, but he really was off.
Got a piece of Molina on that foul ball. Hey, whoever wins this game is really going to have earned it, and whoever loses it is really going to lament the opportunities they let slip away tonight.
Exactly.
Chicago looking to build a foundation for the possible rest of the season to make a run at the division, and St. Louis looking to stop this losing streak of 3 games.
And take a full game lead in the Central.
Lee continues to battle.
Half game, yeah. Cincinnati losing this afternoon.
So the two teams in a virtual tie right now for top spot in the National League Central.
What's a half game between friends?
Colvin at second, Castro at first, 1-2 on Derek Lee. Pops him up. Infield fly rule in effect, 2 down. Now Aramis Ramirez.
Been talking with Lou before the game and asking him about his 1,800 plus wins and his 5,000 games in uniform. He continuously said to me, this job's not as easy as people think it is. Not only here in Chicago, obviously, but anytime you manage a baseball game, and I think we've seen that tonight, Dan, with all the decisions, all the heartbreaks, all the frustration that you go through in a 3.5-hour period, then you have to come back again tomorrow and do it again.
Ramirez is 1 for 4. Good numbers against Franklin, 3 for 7 with a homer. A breaking ball that got a whole lot of the play. That body language from Ramirez suggests he's thinking, man, I should have swung at that one, Oral.
Cardinals lose this game, it's going to be the breaking balls of their pitchers tonight were not sharp. Carpenter had a good cutter. Mott got him out with a fastball. And Franklin has had some backup breaking balls, and so did Carp.
Outfielders playing him to pull. 0-2.
And now, interestingly enough, with 2 outs, Earl and Dan, Colvin is back in the line at second base. So he's now going to try to get the right angle at the bag. again, when you're inside the line, it's when you're stealing or you're trying to go on a bunt play. But now he's outside the line, taking his lead so that he can get the proper angle on that inside corner of third base, the one that's closest to the pitcher's mound, so that he could get as direct a line to first base as possible. Home plate him.
Franklin with a good slider right there that Ramirez fights off.
So very important here at Wrigley years ago, Bobby, when you were over in Japan, to take that correct line because there was such a crown in the field. But now with the new drainage system, the field is now completely level. And you can make that turn around third and really get your spikes in it. The ground used to fall out from under you.
That used to be a slip and slide around third. Yep. How about when they tried to stop? That was really an adventure.
Ryan Franklin's already thrown 35 pitches. The closer is in his second inning of work. Ramirez having some good cuts. Colvin back to second, Castro back to first.
Colvin having some great jumps. If it's a base hit to the outfield, this game's over.
I am a true believer right here to double up on the high fastball. I do not want to lull back into the Little League pattern of one fastball now back to the breaking ball. You've got plenty of pitches to play with. You've got an 0-2 count. I want to reassure the hitter that he doesn't know what's coming.
Well, how about Molina acting behind the plate as if he's calling for the high fastball, but then sliding away to get ready for the slider that was coming in?
Well, the reason I said double up with the fastball is I don't need a big pitch yet. I've got third base open, so I've got two hitters to get one out. I know he's deking for the fastball up. The reason I call for another waste pitch is because I'm in a count 0-2, and he swung at the last high fastball that wasn't even close. You might be able to get him to take it up the ladder, but you really almost start a fresh count when you throw another one up there.
The 1-2. Fastball hit sharply off the body of Schumacher. Everybody is safe. An error charge to Schumacher.
And that slipping and sliding occurred going around third base with Colvin. As that ball was knocked down, Shoemaker looked up. If he was able to look up and make a quick throw, Colvin was on his butt, taking a turn around third.
A high fastball, didn't get it up high enough. Colvin coming around. He's got the angle Bobby's been talking about, but watch when he comes around here. Gets on the sides of his spikes, and that grass got some dew on it here late. Just think like that was like when the crown was there.
Bases loaded, two down. Marlon Byrd maybe in on more big plays in this game than anybody else. Chases the slider. Tyler Colvin is at third. He's the winning run. Starlin Castro is at second. Aramis Ramirez is at first. Two down as the Cubs try to win it here in the bottom of the 10th. Franklin over 40 pitches. Chases another slider.
Earl, this is one of those teaching moments where when you have the bases loaded in bottom half, tie score, runners at second and first, just run through the bags. You don't run to second and you don't run to third and slide because you slow down when you slide. You run straight through the base into the outfield when they're trying to get a force out on you so that run scores before they appeal you.
Bird picked that one up better, took the slider. Bird trying to figure out, is he ever going to get a fastball or is he going to get a fourth consecutive slider? Fastball throws him, and the Cubs leave him loaded. Franklin outguesses Bird. And we're going to the 11th. Monday Night Baseball, it will be the Detroit Tigers taking on the Tampa Bay Rays. And then Wednesday night, you can see the Cardinals again. They'll be at Citi Field to take on the New York Mets. Both games at 7 Eastern. Both games also available on ESPN3.com. 11th inning underway. Brian Schlitter back on the mound for the Cubs. Colby Rasmus will lead it off for the Cardinals. His first at bat of the night came on defensively a couple of innings ago. Slumping, as you can see lately, has had a hamstring problem. Really had some terrific moments in the first half. And for power, good on base percentage, good slugging percentage. He'll be followed by Brendan Ryan, and then back to the top of the order for Felipe Lopez. Activity in both bullpens.
I was just talking to
Justin Berg, the right-hander. James Russell, the left-hander. Swing and a miss. Rasmus gone. Kyle McClellan doing a pretty good Ryan Franklin impersonation down there.
Or ZZ Top.
Get some chin hair if you want to pitch in the Cardinals bullpen.
If you're a hitter and could grow a long beard, would it be a hit by pitch if it hits your beard? It's hanging down really long.
Bobby?
The answer
You're our
would
rule book
be
expert.
yes.
Yes, it would
hit
be,
by
right?
pitch.
So everybody should have Santa Claus beards. Then they would institute some length of beard rule.
Interesting. You're talking about hit by pitch. I think that, well, on those rule changes, the guys that wear the big elbow guards, if the ball hits the elbow guard and comes back to the catcher, it should be a ball. Only when it hits the elbow guard and goes back toward the pitcher.
Goes into fair territory.
Is it really contact? Because if you didn't have it on, it would have missed you.
Right.
Exactly.
I'll tell you, Ryan's having very good at-bats tonight, and I mentioned earlier that he was batting ninth because Carpenter might have been a better hitter, and I know he's struggled this year, but tonight he's really having very good at-bats.
Has a couple of hits and an RBI. He's popped this one up for Terrio. Out number 2. Let's send it back to Ryan Burr with the Sports Center right now. We're starting to wonder about that ourselves. 2 outs here in the 11th inning. Felipe Lopez 0 for 4 with a walk. The Cardinals don't play tomorrow. They'll fly home tonight. And they will begin a series, fly to New York tonight. And they will begin a series Tuesday night against the Mets. That's the Wednesday night ESPN game we were telling you about. The Cubs do play tomorrow. They're down in Houston. Pinella at times tonight has had a big smile on his face. At times he's argued with umpires. At times he's been pacing. Upcoming schedule for the Cubs. Big series with Cincinnati. Again, if they have any hope of getting back into it, they've got to do some serious damage against the Reds and the Cardinals. Pinella says, hey, let's play the games and see what happens.
Well, this is one of those easy ones that Lou was talking about. You know, managing is a tough job, but this is just a walk on the beat.
Yeah. Set it on autopilot most of the night, huh?
Oh, yeah. Been fun.
Not much to decide here tonight. Foul ball.
Hard thing for the Cubs is they haven't done anything in streaks this year. No losing streak over 4 games, no winning streak over 4 games. The only way they're climbing back in this is they're going to have to win, 9 out of 11, 14 out of 17. You're going to win 7 in a row when everybody else plays 500 to cut a third of the lead off.
Well, they might have to get hot in the next few days for Jim Henry to decide they're in it, because there's been talk that they could be sellers, Ted Lilly, somebody like that. High and deep to right field. Got a chance. It's gone.
You can hit a fastball.
Felipe Lopez has given the Cardinals the lead.
Fastball hitter that when thrown a breaking ball was able to foul it off this at bat. And so it got him back into one more fastball and gave himself a chance.
Randy Wynn batting in Ryan Franklin's spot. So Lopez gives the Cardinals the lead. It'll be turned over to Kyle McClellan in the bottom half of the 11th. With the pitcher spot, Giovanni Soto and Ryan Theriot, the scheduled hitters for the Cubs. Wynn skies one to right field. Fukudome, inning over. Lopez homers. The Cardinals have a 4-3 lead going to the bottom of the 11th. Big moment for Lopez, and he knew it. The Cardinals 3 outs away from winning it. As you get one more look at the go-ahead home run, that will take us to the bottom of the 11th at Wrigley. A 1-run lead going to the bottom of the 11th. Kyle McClellan is the new Cardinals pitcher. We're going to pick up the save. He had one earlier this year, early June against Cincinnati. And the batter was Xavier Nady coming on to hit in the pitcher spot. It'll be Nady, Soto, and Terrio. 6, 7, and 8 for the Cubs here against McClellan, who is from the St. Louis area and has some very solid numbers. As you can see, another big reason why the Cardinals have the second best ERA in the National League. Up high with a fastball, 2-1.
That save against Cincinnati was with a 3-run lead, but it was a 3-up, 3-down inning. He got Phillips, Votto, and Rowland. So he mowed him down with the pressure on.
Looper to right field, a base hit. Nady came into that at bat 3 for his last 39, so he'll take a little broken bat flare into shallow right.
It was a good pitch running in on him, Morrow. Got it right on the label. Got just enough of the ball. Man up first, no outs. We're in business again, Lou. What are we going to do?
The difference between a high good pitch and a low good pitch. Low good pitch is a little ground ball. High good pitch, you still got a chance to give up that blue hit.
See how the Cubs play it. The batter is Giovanni Soto, the catcher. Soto tonight 0 for 3 with a walk. He's going to do a double play tonight. But he's been hot the last couple of weeks.
As we said earlier, other than Castro, maybe the hottest hitter on this team. They love the way he's swinging the bat, so Lou's giving him a chance to hit one in the gap here and get his team back in the game.
SportsCenter will follow this game here on ESPN. The Cardinals hoping to avoid the sweep. Lock it up here in the bottom of the 11th. Justin Berg is up in the Cub pen. Should this game go to the 12th?
And that's not a bedtime story he was being read there. That was the scouting report of the hitters he's going to face if he gets into this game.
Pull to third. High throw. And because of that, they only get one. And Lopez kind of dejectedly looking down at his feet, realizing they had to turn 2 on that play.
Good offensive player, but a liability on defense. Here he doesn't know the speed of the runner. He has more time than this to make a good throw so that Schumacher could be the quick man. Here he's only being quick trying to get out of the way and has no chance of turning 2. Any kind of throw. That's a double play with Soto's speed going down the first.
Now Jeff Baker's going to run for Soto. So Baker at first, 1 out. Dave Duncan, the pitching coach, will come to the mound.
This is to give time for the left-hander to get ready for Fukudome in case it's first and second or first and third. Stall tactics.
Dennis Reyes is up in the Cardinal pen. Ryan Terrio is going to be the batter. Terrio tonight is 2 for 4, including a triple that he hit to deep right center field. And the center fielder at the time for the Cardinals was John Jay, who was playing very shallow. And Terrio hit it over his head. Colby Rasmus is now in center. He's not playing much deeper than Jay was before.
Well, they're really playing for the win. They're not worried about the tie.
With 2 outs, I think you'll see him back up a little.
Yeah. Yes, for sure. But you could go with the theory of 2 hits to win the game compared to 1 and play a little deeper.
I think with 2 outs, I like to think about the 2-hit theory. And here, I don't like to give up that bloop single that puts the tying run on third base.
2-0 on Terrio. Reyes ready if needed in the St. Louis pen. Ooh, a strike over the inside corner.
Terrio taking all the way and trying to sell this as a ball, Oral.
Almost trying to get hit. He bounds going down into it, almost gets the elbow in there.
Three and one.
Got the count right.
One out, says Mike Quaddy.
I think he was making it seem like maybe take one and deking.
Exactly. Below the waist, you're taking. Above the waist, you're hitting.
I don't think so.
Same one sign.
Belt high strike, 3-2.
I think the one in the air means take.
Or the hitter decided to do it on his own.
My goodness. If ever you have a pitch to hit a double out. I guess you send the runner here to stay at a double play and maybe run right into one.
There goes Baker. Swing and a miss. Throw down. Safe at second. Two down and the tying run at second base.
Nice pick again at second base by Ryan.
He has some amazing hands down there at second base. Brendan Ryan has done this 2 or 3 times tonight. He's backed up second base on a ball, getting away on a stolen base and held the runner to second. He's very good at reading that ball. He was definitely safe.
Now Fukudome has come up, the left-handed batter. Reyes was up in the pen, is up in the pen, and now here comes Tony La Russa. And he'll make the move. So the lefty coming in to try to finish it off. The Cubs are down to their final out, but they do have a runner at second base as left-hander Dennis Reyes comes in for St. Louis. He last picked up a save in April of last season. Tony La Russa is asking him to get one out. Standing in his way is Kosuke Fukudome. Second at bat of the night for Fukudome. He had a base hit in the 10th inning. Lefties have actually hit Reyes to a higher average than righties have this year. Up and in, ball one.
And Fukudome is 32 points less versus lefties than righties. So you make the call.
And the middle infielders are playing as deep as they can. They have both feet on the outfield grass. They'll take a step up to get onto dirt. But they have all the depth that they can get to block this ball if it's a ground ball and keep it from going to the outfield.
And Schumacher playing way over to his left, really playing Fukudome to pull the ball. So a big gap up the middle of the infield if Fukudome can get a ball past Reyes. There's your tying run, your potential tying run, Jeff Baker. In there, 2-1. The Cubs are 0 for their last 9 in this game with runners on base. Two and two. It started with Ryan Dempster, Chris Carpenter. Back almost 4 hours ago, both battled, got in and out of trouble. They had runners thrown out and all kinds of managerial strategy all night long. Another installment of one of baseball's great rivalries is over right now. The Cardinals win it. They hang on and escape, salvaging the final game of this series. The Lopez home run in the top half of the 11th inning holds up. As St. Louis picks up a win in the final game of this series, they move a half game ahead of Cincinnati for top spot in the National League Central with a 4-3 win here tonight.
The opportunity with the extra inning win for the Cardinals created by a battle by Carpenter.
Tonight's Chevrolet player of the game, Felipe Lopez. His 2-out home run in the top of the 11th inning gave the Cardinals the lead, and eventually would it be enough for them to hang on and win by a score of 4-3 in 11 innings tonight here at Wrigley Field. Hugs all around. They needed this one. A great game here tonight. Glad you were with us for Sunday Night Baseball from Wrigley Field in Chicago, where the St. Louis Cardinals have defeated the Chicago Cubs 4-3 in 11 extremely entertaining innings. Sports Center is next here on ESPN. This has been a presentation of ESPN, the worldwide leader in sports. For Bobby Valentine, Oral Hershiser, and our entire ESPN crew, I'm Dan Schulman saying thanks for watching and so long from the north side of Chicago.